21-year-old dishwasher Ebony Norwood is suing her former employer, restaurant owner George Demopoulos, for medical bills as the result of cutting her finger. Ebony also claims George owes for lost wages and harassment.
Now, this is case number 80 on the calendar in the matter of Norwood versus Demopoulos. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Ms. Norwood, you worked for the defendant for a brief period of time, and it is your claim that you were injured on the job, that the defendant didn't pay for your medical bills, that he didn't pay you for wages, that he was uncaring, that he fired you. You want punitive damages in the amount of $2,000. Is that right?
Everything is correct, but I quit.
When was your last day of work?
I worked February, and in March I had someone else come in and take my place.
Why?
Because I went and did 30 days to get off probation.
So you worked for him in February?
Yes, ma'am.
How many weeks in February?
3.
What kind of work were you doing for him?
I was a dishwasher at the time.
He has a restaurant?
Had.
He had a restaurant?
Yes, ma'am.
So you worked for him for 3 weeks in February?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you went to jail?
Yes, ma'am.
For 4 weeks?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you came back, he gave you your job back?
Yes, ma'am.
That was nice of him?
Yes, ma'am.
And he paid you on time?
Yes, ma'am. When he was there.
He doesn't have to be there. You're not his boss. He's your boss.
Thank you.
And he held your job open when you went to jail?
Yes, ma'am. He told me if I would find somebody to come in and replace me when I got out, I could get my job back.
That was still very nice of him.
Yes, ma'am.
What were you incarcerated for in March?
For property damage.
What kind of property damage?
Damage to a truck that I was found guilty of.
You vandalized somebody's truck?
That's what the man said.
Well, that's what either you found guilty of or you pled guilty to.
I didn't plead guilty. They found me guilty.
Oh. Now, you want to tell me, Miss Norwood, why you claim he owes you all this money?
Well, on May the 7th was when the incident took place.
May 7th?
Yes, ma'am, is when I got cut. I went.
Is when you got?
I got an lesion across my finger at the bottom.
You got a cut?
Yes, ma'am.
On your finger? Shh. Got a cut? You cut your finger?
Yes, ma'am.
What were you doing when you cut your finger?
I was cleaning up the back dish area, getting ready to leave, and I went to reach for the wire Brillo pad, and I got cut as I was taking it off the hook.
You got cut on a Brillo pad?
It's a wire scrub pad, like what you use to scrub pots and pans with, but it's made out of wire material.
Oh, had you ever used one of those before?
Yes, ma'am.
So why weren't you more careful?
It was pulling, and it was raggedy, so to speak.
Well, you couldn't you see that?
I was trying to get it off the hook so I can clean up. That's the only one he had in the building.
My question is, you had used it before.
Yes.
So you know that it's sharp?
They had never cut me before. Oh. I had never got cut before by one.
Okay. And what happened?
I went and told Mr. Demopoulos that I had got a cut. He told me that it wasn't bad enough for me to go to the hospital when I had informed him that I was going to go to the doctor to get looked at.
Why were you going to go to a hospital?
Because it was cut deep. You could see the white meat in my finger.
Ooh, that sounds terrible. Did it have to be stitched?
I had 4 butterfly stitches put in my finger. And I had the paperwork here and everything from the doctor.
Can I see it, please?
That's everything, the paperwork from the doctors.
I just
that I got from them.
I asked you a question, madam. I asked you lab results. Did you tell somebody in the hospital that you cut your finger with a knife?
No, ma'am.
That's what they wrote here.
I just got all of that recently from the hospital. I don't know what was in the paperwork. I told the...
I'm just telling you that that's what they wrote in the hospital record. That
well,
you told
they
them.
asked me...
Shh. I'm speaking. That's what they wrote here. That you told them that you cut your right index finger with a knife.
Well, that's incorrect. I told the doctor and the nurse as well that I was cut with wire Brillo pad. Why they put knife, I do not know. I just went and picked all of that up from the records, from everything that they had in my financial department, where they've been trying to get in touch with Mr. Demopoulos about taking care of everything, and that's what they gave me.
Listen to me very carefully. You can talk up a blue streak. Bottom line is, hospital record says you told a doctor that you cut your finger with a knife.
Well, it must have been a miscommunication.
Maybe. So you want these bills paid, is that right?
Yes, ma'am. It's on my credit. It has ruined my credit. I can't get a cell phone. I can't even apply for an apartment in my name. As you can see, the bill up there, the pink bill, is a note from the collection agency where they've been billing me, and the last time that I spoke with the lady, they had rerouted all the bills to Mr. Demopoulos' address.
Good. Okay. Now, so that's the bills part.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what's the other part of your lawsuit?
I'm suing for punitive damages.
What are the punitive damages, Ms. Norwood?
I feel like I was forced to quit. I was standing there and I took so much off of Mr. Demopoulos. He stood there, he would make racial comments. One day I came in, after I had gave him the bills, I gave him the bills on May the 8th. May the 9th, I walked in and he was standing up front with all of his friends, and he stood there and he looked at me when I walked around the corner and said, I don't want no in my restaurant, and said it 3 times to me, once up front, once in the dish area, and once at the back. I told Mr. Demopoulos, I said, you need to pay me. I don't feel comfortable working here. I can't stand working here anymore. I done took all I could take. You need to pay me. He wouldn't pay me, so I walked out. His sister came in behind me. I told her she needed to leave me alone. When I walked back in, he was like, I'm giving out paychecks. So I got my money, and then I left. And that following week, I had got my check stub and went to the lady that was doing his accounting, and she told me that I need to tell him to pay me the rest of my money. So
what's the rest of your money?
The week in the hole. He never paid me in full.
Listen to me. I have a question for you. Why did you tell me that you worked until May 16th for Mr. Demopoulos? You didn't work till May 16th.
I had a week in the hole. That's what my check stub said.
I don't know what that means.
My last current check stub.
I don't know what a week in the hole means.
You have to work a week before you get a full paycheck. You put a whole week.
I asked you how long you worked for Mr. Demopoulos. You said you worked for him until May 16th, but clearly you did not. Did you ever go back to work after you hurt your finger on May 7th?
I went back to work May 8th. He would never let me stay out of work.
So you went back on May 8th?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you perform your function on May 8th?
No, ma'am.
Well, what did you do?
I stood there and he had me training another guy.
So you didn't do anything? You don't have to train somebody to do dishes?
Well, that's what he told me to do.
You don't have to train, well, because you wouldn't work. And did you come into work on May 9th?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you do?
Train the guy again.
Okay. Mr. Demopoulos.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's talk about these medical bills, sir. You prepared to pay these medical bills?
I didn't tell her I was going to pay any bills.
No. Are you prepared to pay the medical bills? She cut her finger on the job.
No, I'm not.
Okay. All right. I'll take care of the medical bills. When did she start working for you?
To me, if, for what I remember is correctly, it was around March.
Well, if you don't remember, then I have to take what she tells me as accurate.
Okay.
That she came to work for you in February.
That's a lie. But anyway, in March, she came to work. She worked for a month. She had to go to jail, so I allowed her to take her time off, allowed her to let her grandmother come in to wash dishes for her until she got out of jail. At the end of March, she came back. She washed dishes approximately 2 more weeks, went to court for 3 or 4 days.
Did you go to court for 3 or 4 days in April?
No, ma'am, I did not. I didn't have any court dates. When I went to jail on March the 1st.
Just listen to my question.
No, ma'am, I did not.
You worked every day?
Yes, ma'am. When I left jail on March, I went March the 1st
What
for
about
jail.
the stolen credit
and
cards
March
and all
the
that?
30th.
Shh,
March
don't speak.
the 30th.
Mr. Demopoulos, don't speak to her. She thinks she can talk faster than I can. She thinks she's smarter. She's not.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She threatened to stab me with a fork. And the racial marks, excuse me, if there was any racial marks made, it was by her. She has attitude, as you can tell.
And later today,
In order to take a paternity test that courts will find valid, all 3 people should be there at the same time, and I understand that you have done that.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have the test results?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ebony Norwood says former employer George Demopoulos owes for medical bills when she cut her finger in his restaurant. George claims she threatened to stab him with a fork.
Tell me about what she had to go back to court for in April after she did her 30 days in March.
From what I understood, something about stolen credit cards. Her mother worked at a retirement home or something, and the credit cards were stolen by her mother, and her mother gave Ebony's name or something like that as her name, and Ebony ended up having to go into court for it. Okay?
You don't make up that kind of story,
Your
Miss
Honor, my
Norwood.
mother's here now.
Listen to me. You don't make up that kind of story.
When I left jail on March the 30th, I had never anything else to do with court. I was through with court. It was over with. I had no other cases pending, nothing.
Fine. All right, go ahead. Let me hear the
She was
rest.
off 3 days for that. Then she was off again another 2 days the following week after the 3 days that she took off. She came back to work. She cut her finger about 2 weeks or a week later. Wanted a day off for her finger being cut. Did not get the day off from the doctor. She threatened to stab me with a fork. She threatened to, and the racial marks, excuse me, if there was any racial marks made, it was by her. She has attitude, as you can tell.
Listen to me. I don't see any way that somebody who would give her a job to begin with, allow her to take a month off to go to serve a jail sentence, keep her job open. She came back. Why she would even suggest that you were biased in any way, I have no idea.
Thank you.
You can find the dishwasher anywhere. You don't require a particular skill to do that. Aside from the fact, Ms. Norwood, that I'm going to read to you what your complaint states, what you swore to. You said, after the May 7th incident, the doctor suggested I stay home for a few days. That's baloney. Okay?
I wasn't allowed to put my finger in water.
That's okay. You don't have to put your finger in water. Wear gloves.
He doesn't have gloves. He didn't have gloves in his restaurant.
You mean you didn't use them?
Shh. Then get one.
It wasn't my responsibility to buy them. He was my employer. He was my employer. He should have had all of that in there.
Miss Norwood, who do you work for now?
I work for Country Club.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a dishwasher there as well, / prep. And whatever they tell me to do.
I doubt that. But I'm going to finish reading your complaint. And your complaint says, the doctor suggested I stay home for a few days, but the defendant threatened to fire me. So about 3 days later, I went back to work. That's what you swore to.
That's when I actually started physically working. I went there, but I wasn't physically working.
Well, then why do you expect to get paid for that?
I was on the clock. He told me to come in to help him with the other guy that he had.
It's a very, very easy case. I'm not going to spend another minute on it.
And my mother can testify to his character.
I'm not interested in your... Listen to me. I'm not interested in what
that's my part of punitive damages.
Mr. Let me explain something to you. If you want to build your portfolio, your resume, I would suggest that you understand that nobody likes attitude unless it's coming from somebody who's got a position of strength. And until you learn a skill that you can do better than anybody else, I would suggest that you bottle your attitude. Do you understand?
I tried to bottle my attitude with him.
This is my ruling. Pay careful attention. You see all these medical bills? I am holding you responsible for the cut on her finger that happened at her job. But the checks will be made payable directly to the facility.
Thank you.
To the hospital, to the provider who provided the service for her. She will not get a penny. Checks will be made payable directly here.
Thank you.
And aside from anything else, she gets Zippo.
Good.
Nothing.
She doesn't deserve it.
Absolutely nothing. Because she cut herself because she wasn't careful. But it happened during the scope of her employment. And therefore, you, sir, are responsible. If she chose to go to all different kinds of doctors to have this taken care of, you're still responsible. Pay this bill. But as far as punitive damages, baloney. You did a nice thing for her. You gave her a job. You held the job open. That's what you get for it. Just remember, be a better judge of character. Goodbye.
Thank you. I just sued you somewhere else for punitive damages. Can I get my papers back, please?
You think you can? I thought it was fair.
I don't think it was right.
Everybody wants to get paid for nothing.
It couldn't have been too little. I got 30 pills, and this is all I got left.
Might as well do it while you work for somebody else, right? That's because you don't have any other drugs to do.
No, you ain't got no other drugs to do.
This is an attituded person. She needs to learn how to curb that attitude towards performance instead of mouthing off.
You racist, you a racist.
Honey, I have black people working for me, and I've got black friends.
Yeah,
they come to my day every day, my house
you count
every
them all
day.
on your finger. That's how you know you racist. If you count all the black people you hang around on one finger, you know you a racist.
I got the one finger for you.
Joseph Noonan is suing his ex-roommate, policeman Miguel Montanez, for the return of personal property and a refund of rent. Joseph says Miguel locked him out. Miguel is countersuing for storage fees and harassment.
Now, this is case number 109 on the calendar in the matter of Noonan versus Montanez.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Mr. Noonan, you rented a room from Mr. Montanez, and it is your claim that he locked you out of the house, retained some of your property. You are suing him for pro-rata rent because you paid part of the month that you claim he wouldn't let you back into the room, that he kept some of your large pieces of furniture that you couldn't get out, and that you were giving him a security deposit that he won't return.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Montanez says that you unceremoniously left without giving him the requisite 30-day notice. He is counterclaiming for the following: for storing your property and for the rent for 30 days because you didn't give him 30 days notice.
That's correct.
When did you find this room and how?
I found it on November 1 of 2002, and I found it in a local newspaper, a very small ad. I responded to it.
Why were you looking for a room?
I needed a room to rent. I just sold my house over the summer, and I was relocating to Woodbridge from Fairfax County, which is approximately 30 miles.
So you answered a local ad. You went and looked at the room.
Yes.
Tell me about the house.
The house is in a police blue, so to speak. It's all painted in blue, and it's fairly clean.
Must have been clean. If you look like a clean, neat person.
Thank you. I do appreciate a clean environment, and yes, it was cleaned when I came in.
How many people were living there?
One.
Mr. Montanez.
Correct, Your Honor.
How many bedrooms were there?
There is a total of 3 bedrooms in this 3-level single-family home.
3 bedrooms. You were going to have one.
Correct. The room on the middle level, which is the only room on the middle level.
Mr. Montanez had one.
Yes.
Did you ask him who was going to use the 3rd bedroom?
It was my understanding, Your Honor, that that 3rd bedroom was his office/den.
Is that what he told you?
Yes.
Okay, and you agreed on a rental price. What was that?
That was $375, which included utilities and phone.
When did you move in?
On November 1 of 2002, Your Honor.
So the same date that you saw it?
Correct.
And what did you bring with you?
I brought pretty much everything to complete a room with a bed, computer, stereo, 2 TVs.
So how was everything in November? Okay?
Well, you know, it was okay to an extent. He had a 19-year-old girlfriend at the time, and they would fight like cats and dogs around the hours of 2 and 4 in the morning, which is when they would come in, Your Honor.
That was in November. Now, did you know that she was living there at the time, or was she living there?
No, Your Honor. It is my understanding that she was not living there, and she would be there maybe twice a week, staying over.
So she wouldn't be over there all the time?
Correct.
What about December?
December, the same as November.
January?
The same as November and December.
March?
And if I can stop you here, Your Honor, because I believe it was the end of January of 2003 where the woman across from me moved in.
So February was not such a good month, the month we passed over.
Correct.
Tell me what happened in February, because I've read your complaint.
Okay. And after reviewing my notes, I realized that it was at the end of January 2002 when I woke up one morning and found Maria and her 3 children.
Marie, is that you? Marie had been, according to your complaint and according to your answer, Mr. Montanez's former girlfriend.
That's my understanding.
And in February, the end of January, beginning of February, Mr. Montanez, Maria moved back in with her 3 children. Is that right,
That's
sir?
correct.
Not what you bargained for.
Correct.
When did you move out?
Well, the next day when I woke up to this, I brought this to Miguel's attention, told him that I was interested in renting what we had previously as an environment, which was...
I got you. It's a no-brainer so far.
Thank you.
You rented a room in a house with 1 man, and all of a sudden, you got instant family. And none of the perks.
Correct.
Right. Now, it indicates here that he locked you out at some point. When did he lock you out?
I received a voicemail message on the morning of April 10th of 2003 stating that he had changed the locks and that I'm not allowed to come back.
Did you leave a message on his machine that you were changing the locks on the door? That's either a yes or a no, sir. If you tell me that you did not, and I find out that you did, I'm going to wipe up the floor with you. Do you understand?
I understand.
Good. Now, did you or did you not leave him a voicemail that you had changed the locks on the door?
Yes, I did.
You see how easy that was, Mr. Montanez? You were going to lie to me at first, sir. On what date did he lock you out?
This is on the 10th of April, 2000.
Had you paid April's rent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you give him a security deposit, Mr. Noonan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. What was the security deposit?
$250.
And what property is left in the house?
The bed and the computer desk.
Bed. Desk.
Desk chair. Clothes. 2 dressers.
Did you take your TVs?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okie dokie. Mr. Montanez.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's talk about the lack of 30-day notice first. You indicate that you are counterclaiming because you say he failed to give you 30 days notice. How does one give you 30 days notice if you told him to change the locks on the house?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You called Child Protective Services.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then you called Animal Control. For what reason?
I woke up and came out of my bedroom door and there was a pit bull at my bedroom door.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Joseph Noonan says Ex-roommate Miguel Montanez locked him out and kept his property. Miguel says he's welcome to pick up his belongings.
Go ahead.
Situation when the chains were locked in that day was because the phone call I got from my daughters, they were pretty much terrorized for the last couple of days by him. He had been calling me every day, my cell phone, complaining about my daughters that they were using the phone.
Your daughters?
You know,
which daughters?
Jeanette and Desenia. They're actually Maria's daughters. They have been with her for 5 years.
I don't care if they were been with you for 5 years, if they've been with you for 5 minutes. They're not your daughters. They're her daughters.
Okay, her daughters.
Is that right?
That's correct.
Her daughters, who were not present, who were not living there the month of November, December, and part of January. Certainly weren't living there when he saw the house. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And how old are these daughters?
13, 14, and 6.
13, 14, and 6. Well, 13 and 14 are usually a disaster in girls. Miserable for the parents whose loins from whence they came, and certainly miserable for strangers. Having had daughters? Don't look like that. You want to talk to me about your teenage daughters?
My teenage daughters are fun.
To you. How about to their mother?
They're a joy.
They're a joy. Well, having had teenage daughters and even a teenage grandson, I can tell you teenage years are not very happy years. Most teenagers are discontent about something, and being a stranger around teenagers, especially... Do you have children, sir?
I do not, Your Honor.
That's difficult. Not what he bargained for.
Yes.
You locked him out. So if you lock him out, Mr. Montanez, how do you have the chutzpah, gall, to sue him for lack of 30 days' notice?
I was changing the door until he came home so I could speak to him because the police was responding to my house that day.
Shh, I don't want to. You told him you changed the locks. That's a lockout. And he had already paid you for April's rent.
That's correct.
So you have to give him back April's rent.
Yes.
See how easy that was? $375. You have his deposit.
Yes, I do.
Did you give it back to him?
I couldn't.
Why?
When he moved out, they didn't tell me where he went, where he moved to, nothing. I had no contact with him, where he went.
Here we go. Wonderful. So that you would have given him his deposit back if you knew where he went.
And the prorated rent and his property.
Just a second. You would have given him back. I'm just curious. You would have given him back his deposit.
Yes.
Perfect. I mean, I'm just curious about this whole thing, about this counterclaim that you claim that you have against him. $250, you would have returned to him.
Correction, ma'am. The security deposit was $200. He could make
You have
correction.
proof that it was $200?
It was
Your Honor, I do apologize. It is $200 versus $250.
Don't do anything that would make me question the rest of what you say, Mr. Noonan.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. Now, you have his property. Do you have his? Let us
Yes,
go
sir.
over this. Bed.
I have a list right here and photograph of his property.
Perfect. May I see it, please?
And the storage shed, what I left, what is storage at.
Now, is it in the storage shed, sir?
Yes, it is.
Fine. You can pick all this stuff up 5 days from today. Now, Mr. Montanez,
Yes, ma'am.
why would you think, sir, that he would be happy if you moved your girlfriend back in with her 3 children?
When he moved into my house, I advised him from the beginning that I had 2 girls from my divorce that were in Maryland. I bring him up, and they'll be spending time with us. I also have friends
fine.
that come over and stay over. So if it was in another episode, The Odd Couple here, he knows there's going to be people in the house all the time. He
Mr.
was happy
Montanez,
when he moved in.
Mr. Montanez, he moved into a quiet house with one other man.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Noonan, I would have suggested to you, sir, that since I gather what you did was, 2 separate occasions, you called Child Protective Services?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because you claimed neglect of the 6-year-old.
That's correct.
Marie's 6-year-old child.
All 3 of them, Your Honor.
That they were totally unsupervised and out of control. And then you called animal control for what reason?
Because I woke up roughly about a week later, Your Honor, a week after these folks had moved in, and I woke up and came out of my bedroom door, and there was a pit bull at my bedroom door. And I asked Miguel immediately what this was about, and he said that this dog jumped into his vehicle at 7-Eleven. So now he has a dog.
The dog jumped into his vehicle at 7-Eleven.
This is correct, Your Honor.
She did.
So why did you call animal control?
Because, Your Honor, when the dog started defecating in the backyard, Miguel's response was, the dog can no longer go in the backyard. So what would happen is the dog would defecate and urinate in the living room and in front of my door, Your Honor, because on occasion when I would come out of my bedroom to go to the kitchen to get food, the dog would be shaking by the door. I knew that he wanted to go out to go to the bathroom, so I'd take him out. So the dog, just being his natural animal self, would respond to the person that would take him out. So that's why when I wasn't there and he had to go to the bathroom, he would urinate in front of my door, he would defecate in front of my door, and there was 2 urine stains that were there the last 2 weeks that were in front of my door. And when the police came by to escort me to collect my belongings, and I brought that up to them, I said, oh, and animal control, I brought it up to them. Miguel's response to animal control was, it's my house, meaning I can have it any way I want, urine and all.
You still have the dog?
Yes, I do. It's a good girl.
Yeah, he said it's a nice dog. He said you're not a good
I
owner.
can explain to you about the dog.
Go ahead.
Okay? She defecated one time, and one time only, and we cleaned it because we lost schedule of walking her. That was one incident.
Okay. I think Mr. Noonan probably overreacted.
He did.
In any event, Mr. Montanez, you are not entitled to storage fees. You are not entitled to money for 30 days' notice. You are not entitled to any money. You owe him $575. And 5 days from today, he is going to report to your shed in the company of a peace officer or a third person to pick up the remainder of his property as depicted here. Thank you very much, gentlemen. That is all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
When the acting father and the biological mother would come home at 3 o'clock in the morning after the bars close is when I would hear hear children activity around the house.
We were not hanging out every night. We broke no laws.
These children in the 50 days that they lived there when I lived there didn't go to school once.
He's just an antisocial person, an animal hater. Maybe mommy didn't hug him enough when he was a kid.
I just want to thank Judge Judy because justice has been served today.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Thomas versus Warden, step forward, please.
21-year-old dispatcher Nicolette Thomas is suing 21-year-old auto detailer Anthony Warden for an unpaid loan to buy a car.
Ms. Thomas, you claim a loan to the defendant in the amount of $1,300 for an old car.
Yes.
But it was a new car to him.
Right.
Why would you loan him $1,300?
He was my boyfriend, and we had been dating off and on for about a year. And I got my income tax money, and I was going to get a new car, but we couldn't share cars because we worked different
together?
hours. Yes, we were living
You
together.
were living together?
Yes, we were.
Go ahead.
So his boss was selling a Lincoln for $1,600, and he said if we were to give him $1,300, he could drive the car home and just pay the $300 when he gets it. So I loaned him the $1,300.
Well, what did you say to him? And what did he say to you?
Agreement.
Shh, listen to me.
Okay.
He came home and said to you, my boss has a car that he's selling.
Yes, and he wanted me to get the car. I didn't want that car. I wanted a new car. I said, well, I can't give you $1,300. I can loan you $1,300, and you have to pay me back little by little.
Is that what happened?
No, ma'am.
I didn't think so. Go ahead.
Your Honor, Nicholas took me through so much.
Listen to me. I have a short life. I'm not interested in what Nicolette has taken you through. I'm interested in the $1,300 for the car. Get to it.
The $1,300 is right here. I put $1,000 down, she gave me, and we paid $300 for the payment. That's the $1,300. Then she drives the car now.
That's the Dodge.
Just a second.
We're talking about the Lincoln.
We're talking about a 1997 Lincoln.
I paid cash for my car.
Mr. Warden, if you're going to be a liar, I'm not going to listen to you. I read your answer, sir. Your answer says that you took $1,300 from her, but it was a gift.
Yes, sir.
And now your other story is that you gave the money. It wasn't her money.
She never gave me any loan. I never said that. The money she's talking about is right here.
Mr. Warden, you're really going to irritate me. And Bird doesn't like it when people irritate me, because he doesn't like my reaction when people irritate me. But I can't stand people who lie to me because they think I'm stupid. That irritates me, and then I tend to explode. Now, you don't want me to explode with you, right? You say in your answer, and I'm paraphrasing, She gave me the money because I spent plenty of money on her while we were together. That's what you said in your answer. That's what you swore to in your answer. Want to show this to Mr. Genius over there and ask him if that's his signature? Is that your signature, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Try to hold it together.
I understand.
Do you understand? Can't always do it. All right. Now, you want to start this all over again?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Your boss was selling his car. You came home and you said to Miss Thomas, what?
I'm going to purchase a car from my boss.
Good. And she said to you what?
That she needed a car also.
And you said what?
That we would finance a brand new car for her.
And you would pay cash for yours?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you get the cash from?
My job.
That's not what you said here in your answer, Mr. Warden.
She gave me money on several occasions, but it had nothing to do with a car or anything. We gave each other money.
Well, what did she give you money for at about the time that you bought the car?
Around that time, we were hurting because I was purchasing my car and she was purchasing hers. We did not loan each other anything.
I didn't ask you whether it was a loan, sir. I said how much money did she give you at around the time that you purchased the car?
Not a cent.
Oh, you two people really deserve each other. You're a liar. You can't follow your own storyline in your head. You said we gave each other money back and forth, and by the time I was financing the car, I was really strapped for money. So I said, how much money did she give you? About that time, you said nothing. You are better off without him. Because he's the kind of guy that will continue to lie to you, but will always be tripping over his tie because he doesn't remember 1 minute to the next what story he's telling you. Do you understand? But this was not a loan. You never made him a loan. You gave him the money. Now, you have this new car that you financed?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's financed in whose name?
Both of ours.
So he's also responsible for it?
Right.
Sounds perfect to me. Your case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm happy with everything. It was dismissed. I'm ready to go on with my life.
He just moved on with his life and forgot that I loaned him that money.
She came to my job and tried to stab me.
Oh, Tony's a mess. The car that they co-signed together, he's stolen.
The car is mine, and she didn't make payments on the car. I had to come get it one time.
I'm just glad it's over.
I'm just glad it's over with.
Waitress Kathleen Papp is suing her ex-boyfriend, contractor Michael Sandoval, for the return of her belongings, including a car. Michael is countersuing for stolen checks.
Now, this is case number 123 on the calendar in the matter of Papp versus Sandoval. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Ms. Papp, according to what I read, you and the defendant lived together for about 10 years.
Yes, ma'am.
During that time, sort of the end of that period of time, there was a car purchased. The car was purchased for you. It was purchased by Mr. Sandoval.
Yes.
And there was an agreement that you would make the payments on the car.
Yes, ma'am.
You broke up. He told you to leave. You did. And you took the car with you and made payments on it, according to you.
Yes.
And for no good reason, Mr. Sandoval took the car back, even though you were making payments.
Yes.
And you say that he had no reason to do that, so you want all the money that you put in to the car. Mr. Sandoval says that you were either late or you missed some payments, and then you got arrested and went to jail, and he repossessed the car. You are also claiming that Mr. Sandoval trashed a lot of your stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sandoval says that he gave you plenty of opportunity to come and get it. When you didn't come and get it, he threw it away.
I donated it.
You donated it. And Mr. Sandoval then has a counterclaim because he says you stole some checks that belonged to him.
She did.
Okay. So let me hear about this arrangement for the car.
Okay. We both work for the same company. We live together as a blended family. I raised his children. He helped. You know, we had 4 between us. And then business got slow right after 9/11, and his boss decided to close the door and not renew his business license, so I was laid off immediately. Mike had to continue to work because he had to tie up loose ends with the customers. So he said we'd be okay for a few months, so I started looking for work in December. And then come the 1st of January, I got a job. So we had like 4 company vehicles and everything at the house.
Could you speak slowly?
We had 4 company vehicles, so I got to drive one of the trucks all the time. So then Mike said, I don't know how much longer we'll have this one truck, so you better start saving for a car. So come February...
What year are we talking about?
2002. So February, Mike asked me how much money I had saved, and I went and got my money, out of my closet, which was in the garage that he built for me, and had $1,000. And Mike was all proud of me, and I was excited.
Could we fast forward a little bit,
Anyway,
please?
I had saved $1,000. Mike said he would help me because he didn't want me to get taken advantage of being a woman out looking for a car.
Could you fast forward, please? Bought a car. The agreement was that you would
The
make
agreement
the
was I'd pay him.
The agreement was that you would make the payments on it.
Yes.
When did you get the car?
In March of 2002.
What were the payments?
$201.
Due when?
On the 15th.
And were you supposed to make those payments to him or to the bank correctly?
To him.
Even though you were living together as a blended family?
Yes. I had to pay half of everything.
I don't care about half of everything. I'm talking about strange...
I paid everything. Our agreement.
Shh. I don't care about half the bills. You had half the family there. Half the bills is fine. Sir, didn't you understand? I saw you put your hands up. You don't have to go to the bathroom, do you?
Nope.
Then just wait.
Okay.
$201 is paid directly to him on the 15th of each month. And April 2002 was your first payment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you pay him by check or cash?
Money order.
And you have copies of those?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I see them, please? You're supposed to pay him $205 or $201?
It was $201.99. I just made it $205 each month.
Is that right, Mr. Sandoval?
It was $201.99, and she made it
$205.
$205 every month.
So the answer is yes. Well, I see in December you only paid
$105.
$105.
Yes, ma'am. I paid him $105 with a balance of $97. He got belligerent. Like on the 11th, he went to the doctor, and I called him after work and said how'd it go because something was wrong with his kidneys. And anyway, that night when we got home, he was saying to his son, "How come the C person hasn't left yet?" And he's calling me all these vulgar names in front of his son. So we were just hoping he'd fall asleep and pass out and go to bed. So I just ignored it. And the next morning, he called me at work and said, "Why aren't you out of the house yet? Why aren't you out of the house yet?" And called me every name there is. And so I went and stayed with my children who don't live with me anymore. And I stayed there a few nights till he calmed down.
How old are your children?
They are 18 and 20.
Who do they live with?
They lived with their dad.
When did they move out and live with their dad?
About a year and a half ago.
About 3 years ago when she went to jail.
For what?
She went to jail for credit card fraud. And I called their dad up and said, I'm not paying for them. Come and get your kids.
That is not true, Your Honor.
And their dad finally come and got them. It took me a while to get them out of there, but their dad did come and get them because she got 1 year in the county jail.
I object.
And I wasn't about to continue paying for her kids.
Okay.
She objected to going to jail, too.
That is not true.
Miss Papp, just wait until I speak to you. Okay. Do you understand? That doesn't answer why you only gave him $105 in December.
Because
Shh. You're supposed to pay him $202.
Right, I had a balance of $97 that I had talked to him that I was going to give him like in the next week, which wasn't a problem. I mean, we lived together.
Were you arrested in January?
Your Honor, she did not live there at that time.
Were you arrested in January?
I left. He choked me, Your Honor.
Would you answer my question?
Yes, because of him.
You were arrested in January.
December 31st.
On a no bail warrant. That's not because of me.
Mr. Sandoval.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You were arrested on December 31st. By December 31st, had you in fact paid the other $97?
No, I did not.
So you breached your agreement with him?
Yes.
Good.
$97.
You don't care what it was, $97 or $197
yes,
or whatever. You breached your agreement with him.
But we had talk. I mean, I've been with this guy, and I just lost my mother. You know, it's like I had a balance of $97. I just paid him $700 for my car insurance for the whole year.
When did you, Mr. Sandoval, take the car back?
I took the car back January 17th. I think I repossessed the vehicle.
From where?
From where her kids stay, not at their dad's, but her kids stay at a friend's house.
Was she in jail at the time?
She was in jail because she tried to break in my home on December 31st, and my daughter called the police, and the police caught her in the neighbor's yard, and she had and my son was also out there, which is a witness. She had all her cat burglar stuff on. She had gloves on.
Object. He's lying.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I see you don't like each other anymore.
That's not true.
Well, if you still like him after what he said about your children after 10 years, then what I'm telling you is you got to screw loose.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kathleen Papp says ex-boyfriend Michael Sandoval gave away her clothes and other belongings. Michael says she abandoned the property.
Mr. Sandoval,
He's
can you
lying.
just answer my questions? I would just like to get through with this case, get the information that I need. You repossessed the car on or about January 17th.
Yes.
Had you received any car payment on January 15th?
No.
Did you make any car payment on January 15th?
He took the car January 15th, and no, I did not.
Shh, just a minute. By January 15th, had you made a payment of the $97
No, ma'am.
that you owed him?
I did
All
not.
right, so you were in breach of the agreement. You were entitled to nothing on your complaint.
She was
With
in
regard
jail.
to the, I'm speaking.
Okay.
I'm going to handle this my way.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I see you don't like each other anymore.
No, that's
That's
not
just
true.
fine.
That's not true.
Well, if you still like him after what he said about your children after 10 years, then what I'm telling you is you got a screw loose. So can we get to the next part of your complaint? Just answer my questions, Miss Papp. It's late and I'm tired. You're not entitled to anything on the car. You breached your contract.
For $97?
Well, it wasn't $97. At this point, it's $97 for one. I'm speaking. $97 for 1 month, and January's car payment you failed to make on time as well. So that's not $97. That's $202 plus $97. You are now a month and a half in arrears. He's entitled to repossess the car. Period. End of discussion. Now, let us move on to...
Your Honor.
I'm speaking. Let us move on to the stuff that you did not get out of the house. When did you get rid of her stuff?
I got rid of it December the 31st.
What did you get rid of?
9 boxes of clothes. She had already taken... Okay.
When did she move out of the house, Mr. Sandoval?
In August of 2002.
Where did she move to?
She moved to Ray and Geneva's house, some friends of mine.
I object. They're not friends of his. He's lying. He's lying.
Are you on medication?
No.
Then you better learn to be quiet unless I'm talking to you.
Yes, ma'am.
So she was not living there in
No,
December.
she was not.
She wasn't living there in November.
No, she was not.
May I speak?
Not yet.
He's not being truthful. I have something else I need to say.
I didn't. There's not a question before you, madam.
Because I took
There
him
is
to-
not a question before you.
I took him before to court. We made an agreement.
About what?
This car.
What do you mean you took him to court
Yes,
before?
in
about the
March.
car?
I originally. See,
Shh.
I need to explain myself because he's
No,
being
no, no.
careless.
Pay attention to me. You took him to court before in March of 2003?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see a judge?
Yes.
Did the judge make an order?
He asked us to go out in the hall and make an agreement. We
The
did.
judge dismissed it.
Listen, please. We made an agreement. We came back in. He said, okay, come back April 10th, and we'll see if everything's okay. Mike said, you have till 7 o'clock tonight to give me that $600 for the car payment. Well, January, February, March, his daughter's been driving my car. Yes, he took it January 15th out of my girlfriend's driveway.
Oh, please. I'm not interested, Miss Papp. You breached the agreement. Period.
How
End of
did-
discussion.
You know,
I'm asking you a-
why am I going to be out $4,000? And then, on top of it, the reason I left him is because he choked me. And look at this, my dresses, he went in my closet and stabbed all my dresses. Like, there were 20 stab holes in like this. There are stab holes in this one that he's
I'm
done
going
me.
to give you one more second to close your mouth unless I ask you a question. Otherwise, I'm dismissing your entire claim. Do
Yes,
you
ma'am.
understand?
Yes.
The next time you interrupt, speak out of turn.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm dismissing your entire claim without giving you any further opportunity to speak. Do we understand
Yes,
each other?
ma'am.
Perfect. I want to know where you were living in October of 2002.
I had stayed at my girlfriend Geneva's.
That's all. That's the answer.
Yes.
I want to know where you were living in November of 2002.
Really, most of the
I
time.
want to know where you were living.
With Mike.
That's not true at all.
That is not true. I'm going to give it to you again. Where were you living in November of 2002?
Geneva's, but I was with him all the time, Your Honor.
Okay. When did you get rid of her stuff?
January 31st.
Tell me under what circumstances you got rid of her stuff. First you told me it was December.
It was December 31st.
Get it straight.
It is.
I don't want to hear you.
I got a lot of dates. It was January the 31st. I did ask her to move in August. She did, but we continued dating some until December. The whole time I wanted her to get her things out. She had all her.
So what you're telling me, sir, is...
I didn't speak.
Then put your hand down. Then I'm going to modify my prior order, which is if you either speak or in any way interrupt these proceedings, I'm going to dismiss your claim.
Yes, ma'am.
So what you're telling me, Mr. Sandoval, is that while she was living at her friend Geneva's, you were dating, and occasionally she was sleeping at your house.
That's correct.
That's more truthful. And she had some property there.
That's correct.
And she had some property there up until the time you probably had a major altercation on or about December of 2002.
That's exactly right.
And then in January of 2003, you donated her property.
This is right. But this is after I've requested from her many times to remove it. Okay. I've asked her children to remove it.
Mr. Sandoval, when, just prior to December 31st, did Miss Papp sleep in your home?
In December.
You understand, Mr. Sandoval, you cannot have it both ways. You may be saying to her, get your stuff out of the house. I don't want to have anything more to do with you. But in your spare time, if you have some free time, come on over and we'll take a roll in the hay. If she had moved out of your house in August, and from August until December, you had been sending her notes, sending her registered mail, and saying to her, move all of your stuff out of the house. I'm giving you 30 days. And she didn't do it. You would have had every right up until that time to donate her stuff. Do you understand?
Yes, I did do what you said, but it was from December to January, which is 45 days.
It's not enough time.
I gave her 45 days.
It's not enough time.
And it was not...
It's not enough time. You had a 10-year physical and emotional relationship with her. And if you chose to cut it off in August, and probably excellent judgment, then what you shouldn't have done was accept her sexual favors up until December. We understand each other, sir. So you boxed up clothing and gave it away, along with other personal property that she had, or just clothing?
Just 9 boxes of clothes that she no longer used anyway, just stuff she had left, because she had already taken the majority of her stuff. It was just the stuff that she just never wore anyway. I said,
whatever,
get
it was
out.
there and you wanted it out of your house.
This is correct.
Okay. Now, other than clothing, was there anything else that you claim he discarded?
Yes, I have a...
I don't want to see that whole tome, madam, because I don't believe a lot of what you say. Tell me what you left.
I was just at the house a week ago, and my stuff is still there in the house, everything.
Like what?
Excuse me?
We weren't there.
Like what?
Stuff my parents left me, my everything in the kitchen, bathroom, all my pictures, all my videos, everything in our bedroom. There's stuff my mother left me, painted the statuary bookends. They're in his office in the garage. I just seen him the other day, and yes, I was with him. Yes, I was there with him, with Mike.
That is not true at all, Your Honor.
It is. We just went out the other day.
Okay. Court, I will enter an order, and I'm sure Mr. Sandoval won't mind, that 5 days from now, put your hand down. Your case is dismissed. Your case is dismissed. Do you understand?
I'm sorry.
Maybe I have to, hit you over the head with it. But I'm going to enter an order 5 days from today. And the order 5 days from today is that in the company of a peace officer, Ms. Papp is going to be able to come to your house, sir. Go through your house, go through your garage, go through anything that she wants to with a police officer.
Okay.
And anything that she indicates that is hers from her mother's teapot, her mother's photograph, any of that stuff, she's going to take.
Okay.
In addition to that, I am awarding her $250 for her clothing that you threw out, because I believe that since she was in fact gone all but sometimes since August, that most of her clothing that she wanted was with her. But you had no right to discard whatever leftover stuff she decided to leave at your house. You had no right to do that. And I'm going to suggest this to you, Mr. Sandoval. Ms. Papp is not totally balanced. Well, I don't know about you, but I know she is not. So I am going to strongly suggest to you that neither you nor your children do anything to throw away, to destroy, to do anything with regard to any property that you may come across that belongs to her, that inadvertently was left behind by her. This does not include household appliances, furniture, mattresses, tables and chairs, anything else. We're talking about sentimental items that she left behind. Do you understand?
Yes, I've tried.
And that will clearly be stated in the order.
Okay.
Now, I want you to tell me about these checks, because that's your counterclaim.
When she was at my house sometime in December, she stole a checkbook from me. I've got a list here of a bunch of checks at all these different stores. In fact, that's how she paid me the December car payment, is with one of my stolen checks, the money she got.
Have you reported that to the police?
Yes, I have.
Are they following it up?
They are. They can't find her. They can't catch her.
What do you mean they can't catch her? She's right here. Listen to me, Mr. Sandoval. As soon as there is a conviction in that case, because I assume that you do not have a handwriting expert here, is that right? Is that right?
That's right.
As soon as there is a conviction in the criminal proceeding, barring any unforeseen eventuality, it is an automatic judgment in your favor in a civil proceeding. But right now, you are not prepared to go through a civil proceeding, sir.
Your Honor, the person that works at Albertsons that she cashed the checks from lives on our block. I have her phone number here. And
I don't care what you have.
She'll ID that she cashed my checks.
I don't care what you have, sir.
Okay.
I'm not calling a witness to, in effect, give testimony in what would be a criminal proceeding before she's even been arrested, charged. Do you understand? You understand me, sir?
I understand you.
Perfect. And if you knew the plaintiff was going to be here today, and if the police couldn't catch her, you should have let them know that she was going to be here today. They could have come and executed the warrant. Do you understand?
I'm not a police officer. I didn't think about that.
Well, you should have if you said they couldn't catch her, sir.
That's what they tell me, because I've asked them several times. How come you haven't done nothing?
Should have let them know she was going to be right here, trying her civil case. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $250 in the order as indicated. Thank you. Step out.
He's made me carless and homeless for the last 6 months.
She's been arrested at my house several times for breaking in.
I just lost my mother and sister, and I was in the gutter. He had run me over and over.
She's been arrested twice for domestic violence.
He's just not a man.
She bit me once for stealing my wallet. She hit me with a broom right in front of the police officers.
He choked me with one hand, picked me up, and knew that he better let me go.
I did grab her, but I caught her burglarizing my home.
He stabbed all my dresses with knife holes, like 20 of them.
I don't know where that came from.
You know, this guy just isn't a man.
She's a victim always.
He just kept my money, and I got...
Now she'll leave me alone about the vehicle.
All I want is my car and all my stuff, and I wanted to move on with my life.
Room manager Linnell Bauer is suing the father of her child, computer tech Daniel Villa, for an unpaid loan to buy a truck. Daniel says Linnell wanted him to have safe transportation for their daughter.
Quiet in the court, please. Now, this is case number 120 on the calendar, the matter of Bauer versus Villa. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, ma'am. Have a seat, please.
Miss Bauer, when were you and your husband married?
April 12th, 2003.
And in what year do you allege that you made loans to Mr. Villa?
2001, September and December.
Have a seat, sir. Your husband really isn't a party to this action, unless facts prove me mistaken. You were living with or in a relationship with Mr. Villa, is that correct, when you made these loans?
No, I was not.
But you made a loan to him?
Yes, I did. I was away on a business trip, and he had called me, and he was telling me that the current transportation he had was unsafe for our daughter when he had her on his weekends, and he was looking to upgrade and improve his vehicle for her safety.
When had your relationship with the defendant terminated?
Final termination was probably June of 1999.
Is that correct, sir?
Yes, it is.
So you were away on a business trip, and the defendant had physical custody of the child?
During that weekend.
Okay, so he called you and said what?
He called to let me know that he was looking for safer transportation for our daughter. He needed a better vehicle to get to and from work. And he was asking if I could loan him the money for the down payment for a vehicle that he had found.
And what did you say?
I was hesitant at first because of the amount he was looking for. But,
what was he looking for?
He was looking for $2,000.
You were hesitant first, but?
He was insistent on how the vehicle he had was not safe for our daughter. He needed something better. So I finally gave in and spoke to the owner of the car dealer, gave them my credit card number, and took care of the transaction via the phone.
Did you draw up any papers with him?
I did not. We had a verbal agreement of repayment.
And the repayment schedule was going to be what?
As soon as possible.
That's not a schedule. And if you took this money off your credit card, that means that you were paying credit card charges.
Correct.
Did he make a payment in October?
No, he did not. I believe the first payment may have shown up in December.
In what amount?
$50.
In 2002, did he make any payments whatsoever?
Not again until September of 2002.
In what amount?
$50.
Now, that wasn't the only loan that you allege that you made to Mr. Villa. What was the other loan you allege you made to him?
The other loan took place on December 5th, also 2001. He had scheduled a dentist appointment for himself and our daughter. They both left for the dentist office, and I get a call about a half an hour later. There was an emergency. I need you to come down here. When I arrived at the dentist office, he pulled me into a room and he said, Angel's fine, but I'm not. I need help with my teeth. Can you loan me some money so I can get the tools I need to repair my gum line?
And you said?
I said yes.
And what arrangements did you make to get the money back from him?
At that time, we had also discussed that the truck loan was still outstanding and that the payments needed to at least
And
double.
he hadn't made a payment in September. October, November. Well, you said he made one in December.
Yes.
So for 3 months, he hadn't paid you any money, so you loaned him another $750. Is that right?
That's correct.
How much child support was he paying you?
$600 a month.
Does he pay his child support?
It's garnished from his wages, yes.
Okay, I'll hear you.
Well, as far as the truck is concerned, yes, I was looking to upgrade my transportation. And I actually did put down a post-dated check for $2,000. And after speaking with Linnell, she offered to give me the $2,000 on her credit card, so I did not have to put a post-dated check because I would have had to scramble for the money. And that's what she did. She put it on her credit card as a gift to me.
Well, you say it was a gift, sir.
Yes.
I would like to hear your version, and I want you to be very careful that you don't say anything that doesn't make sense to me. Because if you say something that doesn't make sense to me, you're going to be really sorry and really humiliated. Do you understand?
I understand.
Good. So, you had physical custody of your daughter for a weekend.
Correct.
And you called the plaintiff.
Yes, I did.
And what did you say to her when you called her?
I let her know that I did.
What did you say? Watch my mouth. What did you say to her?
I found a truck.
And she said?
Good.
And you said?
I let her know that I had to put down
No,
$2,000.
you're not let her know. I told her.
I told her that I had to write a post-dated check for $2,000.
Why would she be interested in that information, Mr. Villa?
I don't know.
Well, you told her. I mean, it's not something. If Bert called me and I said, "Hi, Bert. Oh, it's nice to hear from you. How's everything? How is the weather in the Bay Area?" And he'd say, "Fine. How's the weather in the Northeast? By the way, I had to give a post-dated check to the truck dealership." Do you understand how stupid you sound, Mr. Villa? I told you, if you say something foolish, I'm going to make a fool out of you. So when I said to you, why would she want to know that information? You said, I don't know why. Because you were asking her for something. Right.
I don't see it that way. I saw it as her offering.
Evidently, you're not thinking too clearly. You called her to tell her that you found a truck. She said, good. You told her, I had to give them a post-dated check. And she said...
Do you want me to put it on my credit card instead?
And you said what?
No problem.
You're lucky they garnish his wages.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You're a slickie. Maybe she still had feelings for you at the time, and maybe you played on that. Either way, you're not a nice person. You're slick.
And later today...
Don't you want to read the police report? Excuse me?
I got everything that I needed from you without the police report.
No, you need to read the police report.
No, Mr. Hatfield, I don't have to do anything.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Linnell Bauer says the father of her child, Daniel Villa, owes for a loan to buy a truck and for the cost to fix his teeth.
Now you're going to tell me about your teeth.
Yes.
I'm going to give you the same admonition that I gave you before. Don't tell me anything that doesn't make sense, because if it doesn't make sense, it's not true, and I'm going to make a fool out of you. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
So, then let's hear about your teeth.
Well, that's correct. My daughter and I did have a dentist appointment, and I was told that my teeth were very bad and needed to be done. I did call Linnell, yes, to come over. I wanted to talk to her. I let her know that I did not...
Not let her know. I told her.
I told her that I did not have the money, and I was going to work up the money to pay this dentist off. And she said, I will put it on my credit card for you.
And then you can pay me back.
Repayment was never discussed.
You're a slickie. You're slick. That's all. This is your husband?
Yes.
Nice guy?
Yes, he is.
You have a separate bank account?
Yes, we do.
Smart girl. Can I see the last statement on your credit card bill, please?
The credit card has long since been paid off.
Oh, good.
I do have a payment schedule that I have received from Mr. Villa showing what he has paid to date.
What has he paid to date?
The total amount is $350 that he has paid.
He at least owes you $27.50. Even if he paid $350, that hardly covers the interest. Okay. Mr. Villa, I said to you, if you say something foolish, I'm going to make you look foolish. There is no question in my mind that you called this lady, who was the mother of your child, and prevailed upon her to put some money that you needed on a credit card instead of writing a post-dated check, because you absolutely intended to make good on a post-dated check. You weren't going to give the truck company a bad check. You were just going to give him a check and say, hold it for a couple of days or hold it for a week. I want this truck. So you prevailed upon her. Maybe she still had feelings for you at the time, and maybe you played on that. Either way, you're not a nice person. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,750. That's all.
The parties are excused. You may step out.
What's done is done.
I think Judge Judy saw what I saw.
She's out of my life, and that's all that matters.
If somebody loaned you money, why would you ever make payments on it?
They're greedy. They got their money. It's the bottom line.
Once you allow someone to take advantage of you repeatedly, they keep trying to do it.
We're looking to move on with our lives. Just take it one day at a time.
Family issues shouldn't be broadcasted.
Car salesman William Vasquez is suing his neighbor, 29-year-old insurance agent Betty Salva, for the cost to repair her home. William claims Betty conned him into thinking he caused a flood.
Yeah, this is case number 55 on the calendar in the matter of Vasquez versus Salva. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mr. Vasquez, you and the defendant are sort of neighbors.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a home.
Yes, ma'am.
And you live on top of a hill.
Sort of, yes, ma'am.
Defendant's home is sort of at the bottom of the hill.
Yes, ma'am.
According to what I've read in your complaint, your home has a swimming pool.
That's correct.
And you decided to drain your swimming pool.
That's correct.
And the defendant came to you and told you that the water, which you knew was going downhill,
Yes, ma'am.
had damaged her home. How had it damaged your home?
It flooded my back porch, my septic tank, and went right in my back door and flooded the carpet.
And when Mrs. Salva came to you, did you go and look at the damage?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you see the wet carpet?
Yes, ma'am.
And you, of course, agreed to pay for the damage.
Yes, ma'am.
How much did you pay her for the damage?
$225 for the draining of both septic tanks and $261 for replacing the carpet and padding. $40 for someone to come down and put it in, a friend of mine. That was all.
Okay. Now, tell me why you want that money back, plus additional money for aggravation.
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to get recompensated back because of the fact that Mr. Stringfellow that sits here, this is Billy Stringfellow, the biological dad of the young gentleman that's over here. The young gentleman went to his house.
So your son went to his father's house. This is your ex-husband.
Yes.
And?
And told Mr. Stringfellow that that it was not so what took place. So they both drove to my house.
They came to your house. Who came to your house? Mr.
Stringfellow
Stringfellow
and
his son.
The young boy.
Step up, sir. Tell me what you told Mr. Vasquez.
I told Mr. Vasquez that my son told me that they had flooded their own stuff out there and had got raw sewage from the yard and put it to the carpet. That's what my son was telling me, and the young was telling the truth about it.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
And so, what did you do?
I told Mr. Vasquez that he was defrauded.
Okay. What's your son's name?
Mitchell.
Mitchell, come up here, Mitchell. That's why you want your money back.
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you, Mitchell?
12.
You know who I am.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you nervous today?
Yes, ma'am.
You look a little nervous today, Mitchell. Do you go to school?
Yes, ma'am.
What grade are you in?
5th.
Do you do well in school?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
I've had a few problems here in school.
What kind of problems, Mitchell?
Grade problems.
You have any problems at home?
Um,
Look at me.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what kind of problems you have at home.
I get yelled at a lot.
By your mom?
By Robert. He's my dad. Well, my stepdad.
How long has your mom been married to Robert?
I think 5 years.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
Yes, I have a sister.
How old is your sister?
11.
Any other children in the house?
Wesley.
How old is Wesley?
12.
And is Wesley Robert's son?
Yes.
Do they get yelled at too?
I don't see them get yelled at a lot.
You don't see them getting yelled at. You get yelled at more.
Yes.
Any reason for that, you think?
No.
Have you talked to your mom about that?
Yes, actually I have.
What does she say?
Sometimes she won't listen, and sometimes she does.
Okay. You know anything about this problem that happened because of the flooding in your house?
Yes.
You want to tell me about it? You want to tell me about it privately, or you want to tell me about it here?
We could do it privately.
Then let's do it privately. Come on in the back.
Order.
Miss Salva, it is your claim that the damage that was caused by this flooding. And I see from your papers that you have a videotape of that.
Yes,
is that
ma'am.
correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see the videotape.
This is the neighbor's pump that's draining their pool, and it's just flowing in our yard and the neighbor's yard. It smells horrible out here. He has done flooded both of our septic tanks. You see, it is overflowed, running all on my back porch, all the way to my pool step area, down to my driveway, all the way back over here. This is the second septic tank that is overflowed, which has run all the way up into the house.
It's a losing battle. Both my septic tanks are overflowing.
Flooded. Run all over my yard.
Bert, stop it there, please. Would
We
you
tried
please?
to...
Stop it there. And I want you to back it up a little bit, please. Back it up about 5 seconds. Keep going, 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 keep going. Now, I want you to stop it right there. Thank you. You've been married 5 years, Miss Salva?
Yes, ma'am.
You have 2 children?
Yes, ma'am.
Your husband has 1 child.
Yes, ma'am.
You punish your children by hitting them with a belt?
No, ma'am, I do not.
I want you to pay very careful attention to me, Miss Salva. When I ask you a question, I expect a truthful answer. If I don't get a truthful answer from you, you're in serious trouble. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Does your husband, Robert, punish the children with a belt?
No, ma'am, he doesn't.
I don't believe you.
He doesn't.
I don't believe you. Was your son living with his father for some time last year?
For about 2 months.
Why was he living with his father?
He was stealing and sneaking out at night, and that was just a last resort to try to straighten him out, and that didn't work.
Explain to me why it didn't work.
His father had went out of town and left him there for I don't know how long without any supervision. So I went and picked him up.
Did you go out of town, sir?
No, ma'am, I didn't go out of town. I was at home. She went and took the young'un out of school, didn't call me, didn't do nothing, and it costed me new uniforms, new everything. She didn't call me, didn't say nothing. She just come picked him up. 2 weeks, so he didn't even go to school. And my daughter, she hadn't been in school in over a year.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. She's
Why is that?
homeschooled. She, well...
She's homeschooled by whom?
By me.
What college did you graduate from?
I went to the George County Occupational Training Center, but I did not graduate.
What university did you graduate from?
I did not graduate
Then
from
how are you homeschooling your children?
It's just one that I homeschool.
Why?
Because 2 years ago when she went to his house for the weekend, she was in a very bad wreck and flipped 5 times, and she has problems from that.
And you've been told to homeschool her?
No,
or you
ma'am.
decided to homeschool her?
That was my choice.
Right. Miss Alva, I'm going to make some suggestions to you, and I want you to take them to heart. Your primary responsibility is to your 2 children. Your primary responsibility is to see to it that your 2 children are raised with a reasonable moral code, that they don't see their parents being involved in lying or cheating or stealing. That's your primary responsibility. And your husband, Robert, it is not his responsibility to corporally punish your children. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, this young man I find to be a charming young man. Bright, very likable. He has the potential to be a nice young man. You and your family are screwing that up. You see that spot?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a dry spot.
It had already
That's
been
a
swept
dry
away.
spot. That's a dry spot that was there before your husband forced your son to take a hose and flood the inside of your house. Now, that doesn't mean, Mr. Vasquez, that there wasn't a lot of damage done by your pool. It's clear to me, based on these photographs, that your pool drainage did some damage. Next time you'll figure out some other way to drain your pool. That's not the point here. I don't know what motivated you to pit your son against his mother and his stepfather, which may have ramifications. I'm going to give you some advice about that in a moment.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I will see to it that a call is made to Child Protective Services where you live to monitor your home. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to see to it that there are no ramifications to this child or any other child in your house as a result of what happened today. So the call is going to be made by me to Child Protective Services where you live to come out and take a look at what's going on in your house. But I think it was a mistake on your part, sir, to put your son in the middle. It was a mistake.
It had to be done. It had to be done.
No. It didn't have to be done that way. Listen to me. Your son was living with his mother and his stepfather. Stepfather who, according to your son, uses corporal punishment as a way of punishing both himself and his sibling. Now, prior to Robert corporally punishing the children with a belt, she did. Now, I didn't ask about you.
I don't.
He seemed to be very happy when he was living with you, and he doesn't know why his mother came and took him away. You pay his mother child support?
No, he does not.
Oh, Miss Judy.
I asked you a question.
No,
that
ma'am.
requires a yes or a no.
Ma'am. No, ma'am. But them young's needs on my part gets anything that can be.
Don't give me talk.
Yes, ma'am.
Money.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what you pay. Money to take care of your children. Do you understand?
Yes.
Because let me explain to you what happens if you don't do that. Listen to me carefully. What happens is her husband feels as if he's supporting your children, which gives him license to hit him with a belt. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So you start paying support. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
we were supposed to get married. He acknowledged me as his fiancé.
When he said, meet me at Rimworld, why didn't you say, meet me at the jeweler?
I should have.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. William Vasquez claims neighbor Betty Salva owes for the cost to repair flood damage to her home. William says Betty conned him into thinking he was at fault.
May I say something, please?
Yes.
There's also a three-year-old little girl that lives there. Also, I don't think she told you about. That
I didn't hear about any 3-year-old little girl. He didn't tell me about a 3-year-old little girl.
Custody of her.
Whose child is that?
It's my brother's daughter, and I've had her since the day she was born.
Well, I've looked over my fence and I seen the child out there unsupervised around the pool area, no supervision, for 10 minutes.
No.
Mr. Vasquez, this is what I'm telling you, sir. I'm not giving you any money back. You did the wrong thing. You drained your pool into a place and it made a mess in their house. They don't have to have a mess in their house, and I am not an engineer, so I'm not going to be able to say what damage your pool did and what damage they did themselves in order to enhance the claim. I can't separate that. What I can tell these people is something is not right, and the advantage of having this case heard today is that I am going to get a team of social workers out to her house to see what's going on there. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
That's all. Step out.
Please excuse me. Step out.
I feel like she's doing the right thing by having someone look after the young one.
I don't like the way that he upset my son. My son said things because he was very scared of him, and he has been abuseful in the past.
I'm going to do everything I can to get that child away from her.
And now, the next case.
Parties on Benjamin versus Richards. All parties on Benjamin versus Richards. Step forward, please.
Bouncer Richard Benjamin was trying to escort Karen Richards from a club when she slugged him with a high-heel shoe. Now, he's slugging her for the medical bills.
You are a self-described bouncer in a tavern.
Correct.
And you have the physique, sir, of a bouncer.
Right.
And according to your complaint, the defendant assaulted you with the heel of her shoe. She split your head open during the course of an altercation at your club. And you want $3,500 in both actual damages and punitive damages. Correct?
Correct.
So tell me about the evening.
Okay, on September 26, 1996, I was working security at Kelly's Corner Tavern in Placentia, and there was a group sitting at the table, which the defendant was a part of the group, and there was a gentleman there that had taken off his shirt.
So I approached him and told him to, please put on your shirt. So he put it on, and then about 5 minutes later, he took it off again. So I approached him again, told him to put on his shirt. So he goes, oh, well, we're leaving. So I go, okay, well, leave then. So as they were leaving, I made a comment, not to him or the defendant. Well, what? Doesn't he understand English? Is he retarded? So they left, and then in about 5 minutes, the defendant came back into the bar and approached me and said, who are you calling a retard, you effing? So I said, you better get out of my face and you need to leave the bar. So I didn't see her making any attempt to leave, so I asked her again, get out of my face and leave the bar. So she still wasn't moving towards the door, so I gently was escorting her to the front door.
How were you doing that, sir?
Just like pushing her, and when she got to the front door, she had tripped and fell. Well, when she fell, the gentleman that I told to put on his shirt, he started, words were said between, he's like, who are you pushing around? And then next thing you know, I turned to the side and he punched me when I wasn't looking. So as I turned to defend myself against him, next thing you know, I just felt this hit to the top of the head, and I felt like water was being poured on my head, and I looked down and I saw this blood, and I tried to reach for my pepper spray, but my vision was like blurred from all the blood, so I ran back in the bar and told someone to call the ambulance. And
were you treated for the injury?
Yes, the ambulance took me to the hospital, where I received 4 staples to the head. And then the police came and got me, and because someone had got a license plate number, and they came and got me to ID the defendant.
Well, she doesn't deny she clocked you on the head with this shoe. It was a shoe, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So why did you assault him with this shoe?
Well, it didn't happen exactly as he said. When I confronted him on what he was saying to my friend, he said, well, I called him that because that's what he is. And I'm like, well, you really don't have any right to be talking about my friend like that. And he's like, you need to leave the bar. I'm like, I am leaving. I just want you to know, don't be talking to my friend like that. And then he called me an F and B. And so that's why I called him. And so then he picked me up and threw me out of the bar. He did not gently push me out of the bar. Picked me up and threw me out of the bar, and I fell. That's why I fell, because he threw me approximately 10 or 15 feet. And
that's a lot of feet.
It is a lot of feet.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. She nailed him with her high-heeled shoe. Now he wants to nail her for the medical bills.
I have a couple of other questions for you. Why was this idiot sitting in a tavern without a shirt?
Because his friend spilt beer on him or poured beer, something like that. And he had beer on his shirt, so he was taking it off for whatever reasons, I don't know.
Had he had too much to drink?
Possibly.
So what do you think happened that night? Maybe it was your friends that caused the problem.
It was a mixture of everything. I'm not saying that I didn't do anything wrong. I have apologized. But I just feel that his actions were out of control when he, escorted me out. I've been to a lot of bars and I've seen a lot of shows and stuff, and there has been guys do a lot worse than call someone a name, a bouncer a name, and they do not get treated the way that I got treated. I've seen a lot worse happen.
Well, that may be true. You've been working there, according to your complaint, over a year.
Yes, ma'am.
So is this the first time you were assaulted?
No, ma'am, it wasn't. And
how many times have you been assaulted?
At least a half a dozen. But what I wanted to say...
Why don't you find another line of work?
I have, believe me. But I wanted to say that I deal with drunk people like that, when I'm working there, and I'm professional, and I don't provoke situations. And I don't think it was fair that, I never said one word to her, and she came...
Well, you did. Listen to me. You probably did say a word to her.
No, ma'am, I didn't.
You didn't call her
No,
anything.
I didn't.
You didn't say anything to her?
After I confronted him,
Because
He
that
did say
can
a word to me.
create a problem, and that's not what I want.
So you just pushed her out. Did she fall when you pushed her out?
Yes, ma'am, she did.
She did. Okay. Had you been drinking a lot that night?
Probably.
You think that the alcohol that you had sort of clouded your judgment?
I was worried about that. My friends have told me the story. There was a few things that I didn't have right, but I know from the bruises that I had that was not a gentle escort out the door.
Well, he had some physical injury. He had some medical bills. And according to the papers that I have, you were convicted of assault.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Went to jail?
Mm-hmm.
For how long?
3 weeks.
Have you ever been in jail before?
No. I've been arrested before, but not actually done time.
For what?
I did have another assault charge like a while ago. And it was a totally different scenario. It was, my boyfriend, we broke up and he had my clothes and I wanted him back and he called the police. It wasn't anything like I was trying to start a fight with
How old are you,
people.
How old are you?
22.
I'm just a few years older than you are. I've never been arrested for assault. You're 22 years old. At age 22, to be able to say, honestly, that you've been arrested twice for assault and were incarcerated once for assault suggests to me that you've got to rethink what happens to you when you drink.
I have done a lot of rethinking.
Good.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Now you've done a lot of rethinking. Now you got to do a little paying. All right? Because Mr. Benjamin, ladies and gentlemen, this is a courtroom. Your actual losses, according to this, which including the medical bills, were $972, and you want some punitive damage as well.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And I believe that you are entitled to that, sir. So I am awarding you $2,500. I suggest that you also should rethink about the events of that evening, whether you handled them in a totally professional manner or whether you got very angry with her because of the name that she called you.
Right.
I think that probably got you go, but it certainly did not and should not have precipitated what happened that night, which was the assault. 22 years old. You shouldn't be arrested again. Understood? Good. That's all.
Parties are excused. May step out.
Judge Judy will return in a moment.
Yeah, I'm glad it's just over with, all behind me now. Just want to go on. When I saw all the blood squirting out of my head, I got really scared. I didn't know how serious it was, so.
I'm glad he's getting the money that he's asked for. I've had to do a lot of thinking since this. I've had to make a lot of changes in my life because of this, and I'll have to be more careful what I call people. I quit drinking. Things have to change with my personality. I have a lot of anger, so I have to deal with that. Be careful what you do when you're drinking. Be careful what you say.
And now, the next case.
Parties on Gilbert versus Lee. All parties on Gilbert versus Lee. Step forward, please.
Brandy Gilbert says she gave her boyfriend money for a car and half the cost of a romantic cruise that never was. Now she wants him docked.
Ms. Gilbert, according to your complaint, you had a short-lived romance with the defendant here. The romance lasted about 6 months. Mm-hmm. During that time, you lent him some money at various times, about $1,500. And then your romance is over. Doesn't want to pay you back. What did you lend him this money for?
$150 was for a warrant that he couldn't pay for.
What else?
$200 for a cruise we were both supposed to go on.
Where was this cruise to?
To the Bahamas.
Did you go?
No, we didn't.
How come?
Because we were going to go in a year, and it was just putting down the money for the down payment.
Did he ask you to put down the down payment?
Well, he paid half, and I paid half. But he's taking someone else now.
On your deposit?
Yes.
You're taking someone else on her deposit? How unchivalrous of you, Mr.
That's not true, Your Honor.
You going on the cruise?
Possibly, yes.
Okay. What else?
And then $1,150 for a down payment on a car.
Does that have a ring to it, sir?
A ring? No, there was no ring involved, Your Honor.
No, I mean, does the amount for a car have a ring to it? To your ring in your ear?
Yes. Yes.
So what about that money for the car?
When I needed anything, she decided to do it because that's what she wanted to do.
So you think that these were all gifts, that she was just trying to please you?
Yes, exactly.
Let me see if I can quote, because I found your answer that you gave me quite unchivalrous. You said she did so because, quote, I want to take care of you.
Yes.
Why would you want a woman to take care of you, sir?
I didn't. She decided that she wanted to.
All right. Now, Miss Gilbert, you say that after you broke up or with the defendant, or he broke up with you, it's really not particularly relevant, that he gave you a bad check.
A week later, he called me to his house and decided that he didn't want to be with me anymore, wrote me a check that says on the bottom for repayment of debt.
That's not true.
And
where is that check?
It's right here.
Can I see it, please?
So I went to my bank and went to deposit and thought twice about it, went to his bank to try to cash it, and they told me he didn't have an account there. I talked to the bank manager, and she said that the account had been closed.
You can't tell me what the bank manager said, but they refused
well, I got
to
a
honor
letter
the
from
check.
them that says his account was closed.
Can I see it, please? Letter from the bank I'll take. They have no interest in this case.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
Yes.
She showed up at my house, Your Honor, unannounced. Okay, I had company at the time. She called and asked me if she could come over. I told her no, and she showed up anyway. The check was written more or less to patronize her. I told her, here, you want a check? You can have 5 checks. You can have as many checks as you want, but it's not going to do you any good. There's no money in the account, which she was aware of. She was aware during the time we were dating that I did not have a checking account, that the account had been closed.
What? How would she know that your account had been closed?
Because there was something that had been discussed.
Did you remember discussing
Yes,
with?
He actually told me that we did, but when I went over to his house, I said, I thought you didn't have an account. And he said, I lied to you because of my past relationship.
Why do you think she would have gone to the trouble of going to your bank, sir, if she thought that this was a rubber check?
Wishful thinking?
Well, let me tell you this, sir. I think it's wishful thinking on your part if you think that you're going to get away without paying her back what you owe her. That's wishful thinking. All right. You clearly borrowed this money from her. The amount is exactly what she says that you owe her.
That was just an amount that I threw out there. I, to tell you the truth, don't know how she came to that amount.
Well, who wrote repayment of debt?
I did.
Right! You owe her the money. It's not, the relationship is over, it's over. But you have to take care of your responsibilities. This is a responsibility that you had. Who's driving around in this car?
I am.
Good. You drive around in this car with other dates, other ladies?
Yes, I do.
That's pretty irritating. She paid the down payment on it.
Well, that was something that she decided to do of her own free will. I never asked her to do
Baloney.
this.
Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500.
Judge Judy will return in a moment.
I'm very happy she rolled the right way. He owed me the money. Still dislike him completely. He got what he deserved.
I don't have a thing to say to her. That's it. It's over. Water under the bridge.
Dawson's girlfriends. She thought she had it rough until she met Rebecca Clark. Cindy says he owes her $250. Rebecca says he cost her thousands.
Order, all rise.
Your Honor, this is number 64 on the calendar in the matter of Myers versus Dawson. All parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Ms. Myers, according to your complaint, you met the defendant at a bar. Were you working at the bar, sir?
One of the bars I used to work at, yes.
And you shortly thereafter began dating. During the course of your relationship, You lent him some $300. Relationship cooled off, and he said he gave you back $50.
He made a $50 payment to me, yes.
So, you want your money?
Yes.
Why did you give him this money?
Shortly after I met him, he lost his job and his rent was due. So I asked him if he needed any help, if he needed some money, because I.
How did you know about it? Did he tell you about it?
Yeah, he told me that he had lost his job, and I had some money that I didn't need at that present time. So I asked him if I could help him out, and he refused at first, and eventually, a few days later, he came to me and said that he didn't want to ask me, but whatever, that if I wanted to give him something, he would accept it. So I agreed to give him some.
Order.
That's not correct.
I'm going to get to you in a second. Go ahead. So he said to you he didn't want to ask you, but if you wanted to give him something, he would accept it.
So I'm not sure exactly what the date was, but I did give him $300 in cash. And at the time, actually, before I had given him the cash, he said to me that he had borrowed money from somebody in the past and he had paid them back and he didn't even like them, so he would definitely pay me back. So then I went forward and I did loan him the money.
Did you ask for the money back after you broke up?
I actually asked for the money back a short time before we broke up. I went to his apartment one night, probably about midnight, to see if he was home. He wasn't there. His aunt was staying with him at the time, and I left a note on his door stating that I had stopped by. And at that point, I had written on the letter that I was running short on money and was wondering when he was going to begin paying me back.
And you were still dating at that point?
Yes. The following day, he came to my house and said to me that he had gotten together with a 30-year-old woman that he had met at a bar earlier in the week, and that he didn't feel that he needed to be dating one person and wanted to start dating other people. It was then that he also stated that he didn't have very much money at the time, but he would see what he could do for me.
Yes.
Well, I'd like to ask Ms. Myers here how she went about giving me the money that I supposedly asked for. Well, her statement's incorrect.
Well, then tell me how it happened, sir. That's why I'm turning to you.
I went one night after work to a previous bar that I worked at. And she was there, we met. She came home with me that night. We went on a few dates. She knew about how I lost my job. Next thing you know, she's calling me up and she said, "Did you look in your billfold and see what's in there?" And I said, "No, I have not." And I looked and there was $300 there. And she said, "I know that if I would have gave it to you, you wouldn't have took it because you refused in the first place." She voluntarily put that money there without my knowledge.
Did you tell her at any time, sir, that you had borrowed money from somebody before and you paid it back?
I've never borrowed money from anyone. I've had plenty of girlfriends that have gave me money and bought me things. But, you know, I didn't borrow it from them.
Your Honor?
It's
Why
like,
would somebody give you money, sir?
I see it as the fact that she jumped the gun into a dating relationship. She either tried to buy my affection or my love and jumped into it. And then as soon as she saw or heard the fact that I said, "You know, look, if you're going to see me, you got to know I'm seeing other people. If you want to see me, you got to know that I'm dating other people. I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm just dating. If this is fine with you, you can continue and we can keep dating." She said, "Oh, that's fine." I said, "Okay."
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. Just one of James Dawson's girlfriends. She thought she had it rough until she met Rebecca Clark.
You wanted to say something? Who are you?
My name is Rebecca. We have a 6-month-old son together, James and I do. And I haven't gone to anybody to try and recover money that I've lost to him just because I've been scared and it's just more of a hassle to deal with. I bailed him out of jail and he said he would pay me back. He's never paid me back and I've just assumed I'm never going to see the money again. And I know how Cindy feels. I mean, I have his child and he doesn't pay me child support and he's supposed to pay me child support.
Why doesn't he pay child support?
She's never asked for it.
I have a court order that he's supposed to give me $151 on the first. I have it in the back right there. He's supposed to give me $151 on the first of every month. He won't even admit to Cindy that it is his child when he knows full well it is his child. he told Cindy, she saw a picture and said, "Who's this baby?" And he's like, "Well, that's my son." And then he says he wasn't even sure if it's his son, that it was his brother. It could have been his brother's son, which is a complete falsity. So he changes the stories all the time. He manipulates very well. He manipulates me. And that's kind of, when I was first asked to come here, I said no, I wouldn't. And I finally just got up the courage to go because I'm tired of being manipulated and I'm tired of being played like a violin. I have to think of me and my son now. And even when I go home, I have no clue what this is going to do. I mean, he's going to be outraged, so.
If he's going to be outraged, maybe he'll be outraged with me instead of you. That's.
I like that.
Mr. Dawson, what would you like to say?
I like to comment on everything I'm hearing right now, because the fact of the issue is when me and Rebecca have talked about child support, she said, well, as long as I don't claim or file the papers or send them in, you know, they're not going to come after you for it, and you don't need to. You can just, when Cody needs help, and, you know, you can provide, you know, that'd be nice.
Did you eat yesterday?
Barely, but yeah.
You look pretty healthy to me.
Yeah, thank you.
So don't tell me barely. Did you have breakfast this morning?
Yes, I did.
Children need to eat.
I know this. That child, I will do whatever I can for. He's my son. I know this.
Mr. Dawson, and this really has nothing to do with this case, but this is a question of character. You don't wait for somebody to be in dire need of money.
Okay, on my character,
yeah.
She said that I said to Cindy that I don't even know if this is my son. That's right, because when I was seeing her, she's sleeping with her ex. She's sleeping with my brother behind my back.
That's a false statement, by the way.
Did you name on the child's birth certificate?
She put it on. As far as I know, she said it was.
Were you there when he was born?
No, I was not able to get there in time. I arrived like an hour or two after the fact.
So you went to the hospital. I mean, when you were there.
I'm concerned, yeah. I was concerned for Rebecca. Of course I'm going to go to the hospital.
And they came around and to fill out papers. You have any clue of that?
I have not signed nothing.
Mr. Dawson, how old are you, sir?
I'm 24, ma'am.
You gave Miss Myers, let's get back to Miss Myers. You gave Miss Myers, according to her, $50 to start repayment of this $300. Do you remember giving her $50?
I never agreed that I was going to
Did you give her $50?
Yes, I did.
For what?
She's coming into my work, harassing me. She's knocking on my door every day. I took money out of my tip jar and I said, here, just, you know, don't come to my work and harass me. Here's some money, whatever. I can't afford to do it.
No, Your Honor. I went to the defendant's house to discuss repayment of the loan, and when we began discussing the fact, I asked him if he could make at least weekly payments to me since he couldn't pay in one lump sum. He agreed to that, and I asked him if he could afford $100 a week. He stated that he couldn't afford that, but he could afford $50 a week. So it was agreed thereupon that he was going to pay me $50 a week.
That doesn't sound like a tip jar. That sounds like something that happened in your house.
That's why she's lying, ma'am. She's not telling the truth. She came to my work, and the money was given to her over my bar to her. I was tired of her coming and harassing me. I could not afford to give her the money. I gave it to her anyway.
Miss Myers.
Yes.
You look and sound to me like a charming, attractive, educated, stable, focused, centered young woman.
Thank you.
Rebecca, you appear to me to be an attractive, well-spoken, relatively focused at this point in your life. I don't know what you were like before, young woman. What do you see in him that I'm missing? Well, just a second. Are you going to answer my question? What is it that he has? He lies. He takes money from women. He doesn't have a profession that I would like to bring home to my parents and say, gee, listen, this is my physicist boyfriend, right? What is it? He's not even particularly good looking. What is it?
I really don't know.
You don't know? Do you know?
Well, one of the main reasons is he is the father of my child, and
He didn't get to be the father of your child by pollination.
And I understand.
Do you understand?
I do understand.
Something happened before that.
No, and I do understand that, but it's very important for me that my son does get raised.
No, listen. I understand from now, from the time that you had a child with him. I'm talking about before.
Well, he's a manipulator.
He puts on a very good
he's 24 years old. Let me tell you what happens when you're 24 years old and you've been manipulating for a while. Because I have a feeling that's true, that he manipulates ladies. Because he certainly manipulated two reasonably intelligent, very attractive, articulate young women into giving him money and to not taking care of his responsibility. Clearly more so in your case. Usually catches up with him.
Myers found out she was just one of James Dawson's girlfriends. She thought she had it rough until she met Rebecca Clark.
My father always said, you do the right thing and the right thing happens. He's not doing that. So it's going to catch up with him one day. In the meantime, Miss Myers, based upon what you've heard from this lady who's standing next to you, you got away cheap and easy. Yeah. Right?
Yes.
He took $300. He gave you back $50. I certainly hope that the reason that you're going after this money is not because you continue to want to have any contact with him.
No, definitely.
I certainly hope not. I mean, that's what he seems to think, that you want to stay close, and this $250 that he still owes you is a mechanism for you to stay close. Take my motherly advice. Stay as far away from him as you can. He's bad news. The judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $250. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Nobody's excused. You may step out.
I'm glad to get my money back, and I'm happy that James has been exposed for what he really is.
Yeah, I'm afraid of the repercussions that it might cause when we get back home. There's been incidences in the past, and I just need to keep me and my baby safe.
There's about 4 other girls also that he's done this to, apparently, that he owes money to. Just watch out for him.
Groves says she let her son's friends Phyllis Magosi and Cello Aguirre move in, and then $600 in cash disappeared. Who done it?
Order. All rise.
Judge, it's number 22 on the calendar in the matter of Groves versus Magosi Aguirre.
Thank you, sir.
Quite welcome, Judge. All parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Groves, according to your complaint, you needed a little extra money and you decided to rent a room in your house to the defendants.
Yes, Your Honor.
And they moved in, they had a baby?
Yes, Your
Honor. They were supposed to pay you $200 a month rent.
Yes, Your Honor.
And according to your complaint, they stole an envelope containing the rent money, the entire rent money, which was $600 that you left in the house.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. What makes you think that they took the money?
Oh, Your Honor, the day that I had left, I knew I was going to be gone. I needed to take my son someplace. The night before, I told Phyllis where the money was in the envelope because my landlord was due to come over that following day to pick up the rent. When I got home, which was around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I did some things in the house. I then went and looked for the envelope because Phyllis had told me that the landlord hadn't come by. He was going to be by the next day. The next day I had a doctor's appointment, and I was going to give it to my son to give to the landlord for me. And I went. It was gone. I started looking for it. They had no concern to help me look for it or anything. I also called the police department out. I made a police report, which I have the number. I did not get the police report on that. It started a big argument, a big fight.
Because you accused them of taking
Because
money.
I didn't accuse them totally of saying you did it personally, but they figured that, since they were the only ones in the house from the time we left at about 7:30, 7:15 that morning until we got home about, 3 o'clock. They were the only ones in the house until I found out she had her brother and some friend come over.
Was this the first time that you had left cash for the landlord?
No, that's all he takes. I leave it all the time. I've left it for the whole year I've lived in that house.
Where do you usually leave it?
There's a counter kind of like this in my kitchen, and I have my wallet, and I have another book, and I have it underneath there. So somebody had to know it was there or really went looking for it.
And you're saying that nobody else was in the house as far as you know except the defendants?
That's it. And their child, of course. And I don't think a 22-month-old would have
and our
taken
two friends, right?
Your two friends.
Your two friends also. There was two.
Excuse me, I'm talking, Phyllis.
I was quiet when you were
Just
speaking.
a second.
That morning, the money was stolen. She was taking 2 of her friends to General Relief to get General Relief with her son, who's capable of getting a job, to General Relief, and which more or less I would think they would have a reason, not that they would do it,
Now,
but
just
they would
tell me
have
what
a reason.
happened that day.
Okay, they were in the house that day also. Jane's claiming that they weren't in the house. They were in that house the morning. They went through the kitchen, right past where the envelope was supposedly sitting.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
And
it was quiet when you were talking.
Matter of fact, Cello let them through the house out the back door. I don't know why they went back there. If I'm not mistaken, they went back there to smoke, if I'm not mistaken.
My friends that were over there was there afterwards. The one man works in L.A. and doesn't get home till at least 6 o'clock at night. I only took my son and one other person down to get GR.
Yeah, but when did you finally find out that the money was missing? That was
About
the next...
5 o'clock that evening.
And how long had you been home?
A couple hours.
So you were home at that time with your son?
Right.
Before you noticed that it was missing?
Before I noticed it, yeah.
So there were other people in the house. There was you, there was your son who was in the house before you noticed that the money was missing?
Right. I had no reason to go and look for it until I found out the landlord hadn't been there.
You know, according to the answer, you seem to place some suspicion on the plaintiff's son as taking the money.
Yes.
It seems to me that there are a lot of people, Ms. Groves, who could have taken the money. You were there. Your son was in the house. Mr. Rivas was in the house. These two people were in the house. Her brother was in the house. You know, courts have to make judgments based upon quality information.
Your Honor, why would we take the money to get kicked out of our house? I got a 3-day notice. Why would we do it?
Why would we take the
Your
money?
Honor,
We're going to get kicked
she
out
went on
also.
a vacation. She went on a vacation when her rent money was stolen. Now, I don't know. Me personally, if my rent money was missing, I wouldn't go on a vacation. The money that I saved for my trip, if anything, I'd pay my rent before I would go on a vacation.
Did you go on vacation after
I
this
went
was
to
stolen?
my daughter's baby shower with $24 for gas up there and back. I went to my daughter's baby shower.
How long were you gone?
Just for the weekend, Friday, and I came home on Sunday.
I apologize. She referred to it as a vacation when we were there.
It was. I did not. I have not had a vacation for a year, Your Honor.
Well, but Ms. Groves, you understand the problem.
Oh, I understand
the problem is there were a lot of people who had access to this money. I'm not necessarily saying that you took the money, but your son was there.
Right.
He might have taken the money.
He had no reason to take it.
Well, I don't know what reason these people would have to take your money. Can you think of a reason that these people would have to take your money?
So that we
Shut up! Just a minute.
I have no idea, Your Honor, but I have, you know, that isn't the only point. The point is phone bills that they ran up, and the only thing I've ever asked for before this is for them to please pay their phone bill, which was amounted to like $68.
Okay, did you pay the phone bill?
No, they have
not.
not.
Because we did not agree
I
to
have
all
it
those
right
calls.
here. His girlfriend, her name's Ann. She has signatured her phone calls, Danny's phone calls, actually to her. We went to vacation to the Marriott Resorts in Palm Springs, and that's the calls where they were made. I have them. She has initialed them here, and I also have a letter from her and her mother signed because she's a minor, and it's right here. I don't think I could submit it to you because I was
Well,
told.
how do you know that those were her phone bills?
My son has told me, and so did the girlfriend, tell me that there was.
Well, I don't want to hear what the girlfriend told you. This is your son.
Yes, and
Step
I have.
up here, please. What's your name?
Danny.
Dan
Groves.
what?
Groves.
Did you take the money?
No.
$600 cash in an envelope suddenly disappeared. Who done it? Stay tuned. Jane Groves says she let her son's friends Phyllis Magosi and Cello Aguirre move in, and then $600 in cash disappeared. Who done it?
What do you know about the phone bills?
Well, I know about the phone bill.
Look in my eye.
They accused me of calling their friend, and we have the phone bill right here saying that if I would have been calling their friend while they were there, then how come I wouldn't have been calling their friend before they moved in, and how come I wouldn't have been calling their friend after they moved out? So they're trying to say that I called their friend to run up the phone bill.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm admitting to my.
But
phone calls.
about the money, we took off 7:30. The money was there. We come home, it's gone.
You don't know
Three
that,
people in the house.
Mr.
So that
Groves,
means
listen to me. You and your mother don't know it was gone when you came home because you didn't look for it until 2 hours later.
But we didn't know that the landlord didn't come by till 2 hours later after they told us.
What I'm telling you is you didn't find the money missing as soon as you walked into the house. You were home for a while, sir.
Yes, that's true.
so that there were other people who had access to that money.
Oh, yeah. The only other people that were in the house while we were there were me, her, them two, their son, and that was it.
Well, but I don't see how your mother can say it was... I don't see how your mother can say it was these two people. She could just as easily said it was you.
What we're saying is this. If we're gone from 7:30 to about 3:30, 4 o'clock, there's only 3 people left in the house, and it's their friends that they have to take responsibility for their friends.
You're not following me, sir. You're not listening to what I'm saying to you. You didn't find the money missing the moment you came into the house.
Okay,
you
because we thought the landlord was coming over.
Quiet. Your mother found the money was missing 2 hours later.
Okay.
And there's
why would I want to take my own money?
It's not your money, it's your mother's money.
Well, regardless, the household money to get kicked out of our house.
Why would they want to do that, sir?
I don't know.
Just a second. Why would they want to do that?
I don't know. But no one said they did it. We said that the money came up missing. Okay?
All right. Well, the major
money came
part
up
of this...
missing while we were gone.
No, that's a conclusion that you're drawing, sir. And I just said to you, I'm not going to repeat it. Money is not necessarily missing while you were gone. It could have turned up missing after you came home. Possibly. They seem to say in their answer that you got a drug problem, that you've had a drug problem for a long time. Shh, listen to me. Listen, that's not the point, madam. The point is they say that he has a drug problem, and it could have been that drug problem that caused him to take the money. There were a lot of accusations back and forth. The problem is you don't know who took the money. And there were a lot of people that had access to that corner, which was, according to you, the usual corner that you leave your money at for the landlord to pick it up once a month.
But it's hidden under stuff.
Yeah, who knows about that?
She did. I told
what
her
about
the night
him?
before.
Does he know that?
No, he did not know where it was.
For a year it's been there, but he doesn't know.
I do not tell him where it's at.
Just a second. Why don't you tell him?
Because he has no reason to know about it. Because I'm usually home.
Why don't you tell your son if you don't tell your son where the money is, there must be a reason why you don't tell your son where the money is.
I am normally there. I am disabled. I'm home unless
Ms. Gross, you're not being honest with me.
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
No, you're not. You're not being honest with me. If you don't tell your son where the cash is, there's a reason why you don't tell your son where the cash is.
I don't tell him a lot of the stuff that I do.
But you tell strangers.
Thank you.
I told her on Monday night.
We told them because the landlord was supposed to come by, so we told them.
Just a second. Are you saying that because you were there when they told them?
No, my aunt was.
Listen to me. You just said we told them the night before. That's what you just said, sir. We told them the night before.
She told them.
How do you know that?
Why would my mom lie to me? Why would my aunt lie to me?
Sit down. Sit down. The more you talk, the more trouble you're going to get yourself into.
$600 cash in an envelope suddenly disappeared. Who done it? Stay tuned. Jane Groves says she let her son's friends Phyllis Magosi and Cello Aguirre move in, and then $600 in cash disappeared. Who done it?
Now look, I'm not taking this rent matter seriously because, madam, you cannot prove that these people took your property.
Right.
There were a lot of other people involved in taking your property. I have another question for you, however. The rent money was $600, according to your complaint. Can you explain to me why you're suing these people for $5,000?
Because I had to, because I got a 3-day notice, and so I would not get kicked out of my home. I had a computer and a printer. I had to have somebody take it, which I have proof of writing. I had exactly 60 days to repay the money, which I was not able to.
Her sister has it.
No, she does not have it.
No, it doesn't make any difference. Listen to me.
We'll prove this, and plus here is the receipt that he got to pay for the rent because I did not have it in exchange for the computer. I lost a $2,300 computer over all of this.
Just a minute. Let us assume that that's true. That's $2,300.
Right.
Plus $600. Mm-hmm. I'm bad in math, but even I believe I can figure out that's $2,900.
Right.
And that's assuming that they took the money.
Okay.
Where do we get to $5,000?
After I got back home from when my daughter had her baby, because I was gone during the month of September, I found other items in my home missing, which I have made a list of, which consists of probably minor stuff, kitchen towels, food, bath towels, toilet paper, you name it, that was there when I left. No way can one person go through this much, and they were brand new, and he doesn't use six towels, and I have done washing and everything. That was that, plus the phone bill.
The phone bill at most was $68.
$68?
You got to, at most was $68. You got to use up an awful lot of toilet paper to make up $2,000.
Your Honor.
I'm trying.
Your Honor, also, I have been trying, and I have a letter which I had to send to her parents' house because these people, if they do call, she calls and threatens to kill me,
Yeah, I'm a
kill
murderer.
my
That's
son.
why I'm free, right? That's why I'm a free woman.
Okay. I have here the receipts of what it cost us to have our phone reconnected back.
Why did you have to have your phone disconnected?
Because I could not pay this phone bill.
She was
the
short my
additional
$40.
It was a $68 phone bill, madam.
The total
Their
was
part
way
of it.
more. Their total was like way more. It was like 200 and something, the total.
They didn't turn off your phone and have it. You didn't have to have it reconnected because you could have sent the phone company $100, which would have not even covered your own bills, and say, "Look, I can't come up with the rest of the money right now." They wouldn't have turned off your phone. Don't blame that on them.
Your Honor, I did pay $180. I'm on a very limited income of Social Security. I paid $180 toward the bill, which was not enough. We had to turn around and pay another $225.
That's not their money.
To get the.
That's not their money.
If they would have paid their phone bill, I would have been able. The phone was originally.
How much do you owe them for the phone bill?
I came up with what was the total?
I'd say half the amount.
Just give me the amount. It came up.
What, $30?
About $30.
Maybe
Let me see the
$30.
full. Let me see the full.
Ones that are not initialed, we can't say because I don't know anyone.
So
in
you're
Canoga
prepared
Park.
to pay for those.
Excuse me?
So you're prepared to pay for
Yes.
those.
And the other amount for the reason why is because with all these threatening phone calls, both with me being disabled, my son having diabetes, we both have been very upset. That's why I had to take a restraining order, which they were able to serve to her. They cannot serve to Flocello because we do not have an address for him at all. And we have been, both of us have been very upset over this whole thing. I have not called these people. She calls and she screams at me.
They
and
were
calls me
evicted.
nasty names.
Listen,
I have
Miss
never called her
Groves,
a nasty name
Miss
yet.
Groves, you called them thieves. You called them thieves and sent them out of your home because you said that they stole property.
Right.
And I find that based upon credible evidence here, there is no credible evidence that suggests to me that any court would find that these people took your property. You don't know who took your property. So that you evicted these people, accused them of taking your property, and so there was bad feeling. Well, that's too bad. You're not together anymore. You don't live under the same roof anymore.
Never again.
Anymore. So you have an outstanding bill to Miss Groves of $30.
Yes.
And I want you to see to it that she gets that immediately, and there should be no further contact. You, at least hopefully, your name is vindicated because there is no proof, Miss Groves, that they took your property.
I had no reason in that 2 hours to look for the money.
Listen to me. There is no proof that they took your property. They may have been in the house. I wasn't there. You weren't there. They did not have sole access to that envelope of money. It was wrong for you to have accused them.
And I've told her if I was in the wrong, that I would apologize to her for it.
Well, it's already,
know.
it's already too late. All right, the judgment in this case is for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
In the amount of $30. That's all.
Can I pay her right now? Excuse me. Step out,
Can I pay her in front of you so I don't have to be back here?
Just a second. Just a second. Stand right here. Yes, you can.
That's it. I want to pay her right now so I don't
Right
have to
now.
be back here. No problem. $30?
$30.
Judge Judy will return in a moment.
Step out, please.
I don't think it was fair because if they would have told me when I got home that my landlord had not come by, I would have at that point went for the envelope and for the money. She waited 2 hours to tell me. What I think is I don't think it's fair that she should be calling me up, screaming at me, threatening my life, threatening my sons, and say that I've done stuff and made certain phone calls that I have not made. of turning them into someplace which I have not made. I could have done it when they were living there, and I have not done it.
You did it to your other friends, remember? And you used to admit it to us that you called social services on other friends of yours, right?
Yeah, I did do it, but I did not call.
You did it to me too.
I did not do it.
And yes, you did.
No, Phyllis, I did not call.
You keep lying. And you're going to be an old, lonely woman. You will always be lonely for the simple fact.
At least I don't have a son or a husband that beats me and beats my kid.
That's why, because you don't have a life. And
No.
you don't have a husband or a job. And you have to pretend like you wheel
beat
around
your
in a
son up. I've
wheelchair.
seen it.
He beat you up.
Your son kicks your butt. What are you
You're
talking
a
about?
liar.
Yeah, I'm a
He
liar.
has
So are
never
you.
touched me.
So are you. Close
No.
your mouth.
You
Close your
shut
mouth.
up yourself.
You shut up.
You shut up.
That's why you
That's
didn't
why
win
you
today.
didn't
You
win.
don't want the
Because you're a
shit
liar.
in because
I'm
you're a
not
liar.
liar. Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Just stay out of her life, okay?
You stay out of
You got
mine.
your $30. Now
Be
stay out of my
happy.
Woke up. Now her dad, Barry Melvin, says it's payback time.
Order, all rise.
Your Honor, it's number 27 on the calendar in the matter of Melvin versus Knight. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated.
Mr. Melvin, it sounds to me from reading your complaint that you've had a rough few years as a parent.
Absolutely. It has been really rough. Yes, Your Honor.
Let me see if I can put this case in perspective, because we have a lawsuit here, but there's some history that I, of course, have to get into leading up to the amount of the lawsuit and your response to that lawsuit. I assume this is your daughter, Suzanne.
That's correct.
And Suzanne was, to put it mildly, as a younger teenager, a brat.
Say that again, Your Honor.
She was a brat as a younger teenager.
Oh, yes, she was. Yeah,
And
certainly.
Mr. Knight here was a friend of hers at the time. Your daughter would, according to your complaint, run away, become unruly, and it was Mr. Knight who could usually find her and bring her home. So you were grateful to him and periodically lent him small sums of money, $5, $10, whatever it was.
That's correct, Your Honor.
I'm not even thinking about that money with regard to your lawsuit, sir. Anyway, at one point when your daughter was how old, about 15?
At the time, she was 13 going on 14 when she first met Sean.
But then they became romantically involved sometime when she was about 15?
Right. The pregnancy when she was 14 and, let's see, 1974. She was 15 at that time, right?
Not 1974.
1994. Yes.
1994. And so she had a baby.
That's correct.
Your baby.
Yes.
How old were you at the time?
17, about a month away from 18.
And then you started to advance Mr. Knight, according to your complaint, other sums of money. A $500 deposit for a car that he wanted, and then he wanted another car, so you gave him another $500 for another car. You still didn't sell the first car. So far, that sounds vaguely familiar to you?
Somewhat, yes.
And I'm not even thinking about that money, sir, because according to your complaint, you now have the cars.
That's correct.
Right? Because he didn't make any payments on these cars. So at least
I
you've
was
got the
doing all
cars.
of it. Yes, right.
Now we come to what this lawsuit, your lawsuit, is really about. There came a time when your daughter and Mr. Knight separated. You had both cars. And according to your complaint, he did something with one of the cars. Now you can tell me what happened
A
with that car.
correction to that,
What?
when we had split up, I had one of the cars. And she was driving, just starting out driving, and she was driving the other car. So I only had one of the cars.
Well, did you go into his garage and take a car out of his garage? The answer is either yes or no.
My car or the car he had? The car that I was driving? Because I was driving one of
Which
the
car
cars.
was in the accident, sir?
His car.
And you were driving that car.
Yes.
How did you get that car?
With the keys. And I got into the house with the house keys.
And you took the car.
Which
Yes.
we didn't have permit. We didn't know he got into the house and got the car.
And then you
No,
had an
this-
accident with the car.
Yes.
Well, tell me about the accident you had with the car.
Well, it's not settled yet, so I don't want to say anything about the accident in the court, but I was in the wrongdoing, but the accident was covered. He didn't have to pay any money for the deductible or anything like that. The accident was paid for. I was covered. I did not know it at the time, but I was covered, and it was covered.
On whose insurance?
His insurance.
My insurance.
I was on it.
You don't think that his car insurance is going to go sky high because of an accident that you got into?
It's not like I meant to get into the accident.
Just a second. You took the car without his permission.
That's the thing, you know, he comes into my house. We told him not to even be there in the first place. And with all the first car, not even making payments on the first car, and then we get the second car involved. We're trying to sell the first car, and then coming into getting the car out of the garage, and daughter and I were on vacation. It just,
Why did you
it's
do
all
that?
out of control. I don't understand
at the
that
time, he knew I had a house key. They were leaving for a trip down in California. I had saw them right before they left. Neither one of them said anything about never going into the house or taking the car. He knew I had a set of keys. He knew I could get into the house. He didn't say anything whatsoever about not doing it.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a correction.
Just a second. Get to you in a minute. I don't understand.
He's not
this.
he was part of the family for a while with my daughter. You know, I kind of was with friends with him, but there was a point where we kind of put a dividing line in this, and he knew where he had to be, and all of a sudden we didn't expect him at all to come into the house.
An underage affair, a baby, and a father who wants the ex-boyfriend to pay up. Suzanne Melvin was the underage lover of Sean Knight. After their baby was born, they broke up. Now her dad, Barry Melvin, says it's payback time.
How long had it been since he had used the keys to get into your house at the time that
That was in 95. That was last year, the summer of 95, August of 95.
And that was the last time he used he used house keys
that
to
was
get
the
in?
last time, yeah. I
so
don't know of any other time. I hope
it was
I
at
took
least
that
a
key
year.
away from him.
It was a year that he hadn't
Yeah.
been in the house with using his keys.
It's been a year. He hasn't.
Is that right, sir?
I have a question to ask.
No, I have a question. I'm asking the questions.
Okay.
Is it correct, sir, that it was a year that you hadn't been in the house using your house key?
No.
At the time that you went in and took this car out
No,
of the garage?
I would come over there to visit her sometimes late at night. I couldn't get in. I would just use my key. Suzanne knew that at the time. That was about a month before they left. I had the keys for about a year or two. My own set of keys to the house.
You mean you'd open up the door and go in when they were there or when they weren't there?
When they were there.
Well, this is now you just told me you knew they weren't there.
No, I'm talking about during the vacation.
I'm talking about the vacation. So the time before the vacation, you
Well,
might
they
use
knew
your
I was
car
there
key.
because
You might use your house key to open up the door when they were there. I'm talking about when they weren't there, when they went on vacation.
I called her from the hotel. I called her from her house to the hotel. She goes, "Oh, just call me from my house." I called the hotel that they were staying at.
What does that have to do
But
with the
you
car?
had no right to be in the
They
house.
knew I was in the house. If they would have known I was in the house making the calls, she would have at that moment said, "Get out of the house. You're not allowed." If it was a big deal, but it wasn't a big deal apparently to them. Now it is.
Just a second.
I think the generosity of my daughter and me, maybe I would put me to blame because I trusted him in the beginning. You know, they were both friends and close. We didn't really set down some real guidelines there. But slowly when they broke up, we thought he wasn't going to be there anymore, and she felt that way too. And it's just a matter of time where I told Suzanne at times, you know, don't invite him over. And maybe there were some times that she did. I had to go to work every day and try to make a living. You know, I'm a single parent trying to do the best I can.
How many
on my
children
own,
do you
and
have, sir?
I'm through a lot of things on my own and trying to keep things going. And
How many children do you have, Mr. Melvin?
well, I have 5 altogether.
How many live with you?
Well, just the youngest. I was widowed in 1984. I have a stepson that's 32, lives up in Vancouver, and then the 4 daughters, 3 adopted ones, and she's the youngest of my wife and me.
So she was the only one at home.
Yeah, she's the last one at home. I had
How
all
old was she
other
when your
3s
wife-
out on their own.
How old was she when your wife died?
She was just 4 going on 5.
So you raised her.
Yeah, I took care of them all. She was just a baby.
Well, step up here, Suzanne. You've got a few things
She
to
was the
say, and
spoiled
I'm sure
one
you
of the
have.
group, I guess.
You have a couple of things that you want to tell me. I certainly have a couple of questions for you. Mr. Knight, I would like to hear you say I was wrong to go into the garage and take the car without their permission.
You'd like me to say what?
I was wrong to go into the garage and take the car without their permission.
I don't get what you're getting at. I was never not given, I was never forbidden to use the car or go in the house.
Correction on that.
When was the last time you drove that car?
When I got into the wreck.
Before that?
About 5 days before then. It's real hard to recall. It was over
Is that
a year
correct?
ago.
No. He hadn't used his car for 2 or 3 months.
But did I call you from the hotel? Or
Specifically
did I-
tell him not to come into the house. I had no knowledge of him having the key, first of all. That's wrong. You know that's wrong. My dad didn't know. I didn't know that he had the key. I mean, I knew he had it beforehand, but I took it from him. Actually, I don't know if he made a copy or what, but he did give back the key. And I did tell you not to come into the house.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. Suzanne Melvin was the underage lover of Sean Knight. After their baby was born, they broke up. Now her dad, Barry Melvin, says it's payback time.
When was the last time he drove this car? And that was the Beretta, I believe. Before the accident, when was the last time he drove the Beretta?
I'm not sure the exact date, but I know it had been a couple months, not 5 days, within months.
So you
we
got
were
in.
trying to get the Beretta sold at that time. We had the second car, or I believe we had the second car.
He gave you $500 each time you wanted to buy a car. Is that right?
Correct, yeah.
Did you ever give that money back to him?
I paid $75 a week it was about a month after the crash happened. I remember specifically because I just started a grocery store job and I was paying him $75 a week. I paid him for roughly about 3 months, so that added up to the down payment. So yes, I did pay that back to him.
I don't think it was a down. It was like $300.
Well,
I paid
according to
and
your
we had probably even
according to your
dad had
complaint,
to come and make the $75.
listen to me. According to your
half the time.
complaint,
He
you
didn't-
have a promissory note that he signed, the amount of $4,371.
Yeah, I've got the promissory note right here.
Yeah, I see it, please. Just show this to the defendant, please. You remember signing that note, sir?
Yes.
It's a promissory note, $4,300.
Mm-hmm.
How much of it did you pay?
Well, apparently to him, I've only paid $300, but I paid approximately $1,000 to $1,200 off of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that sounds pretty reasonable. He's being pretty reasonable. He's only suing you for $2,500, which is a lot less than what that note says that you owe. Give this back to me.
That was
Your Honor, can I say something? The only reason we did it for $2,500 is because the court wouldn't let us go over that amount.
All right.
But
The Oregon
the 43, what it says there is the amount that.
the Oregon
We
courts
want
there,
back
they
from
said we have to get a lawyer, and I.
You're from Oregon.
All
Is that right?
All this
Uh-huh.
involved in
Okay.
this stuff.
Yeah,
So I
they
was a little
wouldn't let
lenient
us-
with him. I thought, well, let's do $2,500. But
Okay.
he really owes me $4,000.
I see that.
You know,
from-
like I am, I'm lenient with a lot of things. I'm able to understand him and her, and try to bring all things together. But I feel I've been used and taken advantage of. I'm usually a nice guy that I'm always willing to help out in many ways, and I think he.
Took advantage of the situation,
Well,
basically.
listen. He feels, according to his answer, that he got custody of this child. The child was living with him and with his mother, and that he's not getting any financial support, or he's really kind of emotional support from the maternal side of the family. So he's angry. Is that your problem?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, I am paying for my own living expenses because I do live out on my own. I have normal bills as everybody else does. And I pay child support, and I also give my money, my
Who do you pay
mother
child
money.
support to?
Huh? State of Oregon.
Is that because your child gets welfare? What's
Pretty
an
sure.
An is yes.
Yes.
If the child is living with your mother, and you're living with your mother,
No, not anymore.
you were.
Yeah, I was.
The child is getting welfare so that taxpayers are supporting your child. And if you're
Well,
paying
no,
child
see
sup-
what they did is they would give him $100-some a month. Me and Suzanne would have to split that by order of the court. So I would pay half, and she would pay half. So that's how it was set up. The state wasn't paying for anything.
Are you paying your half?
We were trying to work it out personally, but between us, that's what me and Carol were trying to work out, something that I could give her some money every month and not have to go through that. Last
well,
time
you
I
have
talked
to go
her,
through that. You can't give her something every month because that's called giving her money under the table. If the taxpayers are supporting the child, then the money has to go to the taxpayers to replenish what they're spending for your child.
Well, I was doing that for a while, giving her money like that.
Not giving her money, giving her money through the court. How old are you now?
17.
You go to school?
Not at the moment.
What are you doing?
Working.
For whom?
I work at Tiger Cinemas. Tiger Cinemas, it's a theater.
Tigers
You
in
work,
the suburb.
you work 5 days a week?
Uh-huh.
And according to your paper, sir, you work 3 days a week.
No, I have 2 jobs. I work every single day of the week.
Let me take a look here. According to your answer, sir, it says, I work about 3 days a week and have a social life. That's your answer.
No, it should have been I work.
Well, that's what it says. I mean, that's the papers that you signed. It says, I work 3 days a week and I have a social life.
What I meant to say is that I work 2 jobs. I work out 3 days a week, and I train in another class, and I have a social life. Yet she has 1 job, doesn't go to school, and she doesn't see him once. She has not seen him since before his 2nd birthday. She didn't even see him on his birthday. And she does half of what I do, and I still manage to find time. I don't even drive. I still manage to find time to get on the bus, go down to my mom's house, and watch him in any spare time I can. And she doesn't. She doesn't.
Listen to me. You 2 idiots. You 2 created a problem.
But I'm
you're not taking care of anything. Your mother is taking care of the problem. What do you mean I'm taking care? You're working out. Your mother's taking care of a problem. You 2 idiots created a situation, and your parents are paying for it. He pays for it. Your mother pays for it. And you go visit when you can, and she doesn't visit as often as you would like to see her visit. You don't seem to understand something. You 2 people created a problem that your parents are paying for. I mean, I hope that
But my whole problem with paying him is that my parents have supported him, so have I. Okay, I just don't visit. I just don't visit. I go there and I raise him. He knows who I am. He has no idea who she or he is. So what does that have to do? What does that have to pay him when I got my own things to take care of? I give my mother money, child support, and I have to pay for my own living expenses.
She's ready to rule. Stay tuned.
Sir, these are your problems. These are your problems. You borrowed the money. You can't say because I don't like his attitude, he's not being a good grandfather. He's not being a good grandfather. I don't want to pay him back. You can't say that. It's your problem. You 2 young people created a problem that your parents
are dealing with it.
You're not dealing with it, sir, because you haven't paid him back the money you owe him.
I can't. I gotta pay.
You're gonna. What do you mean you can't? You're gonna. Stop training. Get 3 jobs. If you owe him money and you have to give your mother money for support for the child, which you say you do, then get 3 jobs. He shouldn't be out money that he gave you in good faith.
Okay, well, how about I go and get a 4th job to pay for the attorney fees in order to get custody for him? Me and my father had to pay for it.
Sir, who created the problem? Listen to me. I want you, sir. I want you to think back. I want you to think back of the moment that your child was conceived. Think in your mind. Was he there?
No.
Was your mother there?
No.
Just the 2 of you.
Yeah.
Deal with it. The judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. Thank you.
Parties are excused. Step out, please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I've been through a lot of sacrifices in my life, and I know Sean's mother has too. And
I'm just glad we got what's fair.
I'm glad we got settled. I still like Sean, you know. There's some things that, you know, he's got problems with. I guess he just took advantage of me. I'm easy to take. I'm a nice guy. I'm taken advantage of, and so sometimes it happens. I don't really hate the guy, you know. I just wish that if someone borrow money and pay me back at the time, we wouldn't have gone this far in the first place.
The bottom line is, I think that you should not even have borrowed the money in the first place if you
borrowed the money. If I was supposed to borrow the money, he shouldn't have given it to me. He shouldn't have given it to me. He knew I couldn't pay it. He knew I wasn't working.
You told me you were going to pay me back. You said, Sean, very optimistic.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, before then, you said, I want the down payments. That's all I'm really interested in.
You keep telling me. I think Suzanne maybe has a responsibility to pay child support. I think there's one thing she needs to do.
I think 3 months
is her baby, too.
I think every 3 months, I think you should see your kid. Because that's how
I
it's been
missed the boy
since they've
myself.
seen
I
him.
haven't seen him for a while because he hasn't gone over there and bring him to the plant here. I'd like to see my grandkids, you know.
And now, the next case.
Parties on Tamale versus Arts. Step forward, please.
Louis Tamale and Jack Arts became business partners. But when business went bad, Jack says he fired Louis. Louis says Jack threw him out of a car. Now, Louis is really hot under the collar.
Judge number 13 on the calendar in the matter of Tamale versus Arts. I think you'll like it.
All parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
I can't make heads or tails of this complaint. It's very
Your Honor,
confusing to me.
It goes to show you how difficult life can be. Just to start out, I wanted you...
Don't show me anything. What do you think this is?
I wasn't going to do anything out of the ordinary, but I was going to introduce myself to the court. I'm known as the world-famous Mr. Tamale, Your Honor. And the way I got to know this Mr. Jack Arts is through working in the Pico Union Housing District of Los Angeles. This is called the sin capital of the world. It's a very difficult place to work because most of the people there are very low-income type individuals. I created a company called La Línea de Ayuda. Otherwise translated into English, it means the helpline. If you have a problem, call the helpline. I started this company somewhere around December of this year. And
Sir, I'm not here to promote you. I'm not here to promote
I understand
you.
that, Your Honor.
You're here because you filed a lawsuit.
Yes.
We're going to get to that lawsuit. We're going to get there in the next 10 seconds, or you're going to be out of here. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
1, 2, 3. You say he assaulted you. That's what you're suing him for. You say you hired him. He told you he was a lawyer. Is that correct?
He told clients that I was a lawyer. I was aware that he was not a lawyer.
What did you hire him to do?
Paralegal to manage an office for me in the Pico Union area.
Are you a lawyer?
Yes.
Are you admitted to practice in this jurisdiction?
Yes, in the State Bar of California.
You hired him to manage your office, having nothing to do with his business. Is that correct?
Right.
Did you assault him?
No.
Well, tell me about the assault, sir. That's what you said. You said he assaulted you.
Yes,
Why
Your
would
Honor.
he assault you?
I have no idea, Your Honor. I was a passenger in his car. He has a 4-door car. And he started screaming and yelling at me. He was driving in the center divider lane. And in one slick second, he went all the way over to the side of the road, opened up his door and shoved me out. I fell over an embankment down the Crenshaw Avenue off-ramp.
A business gone bad continues in a moment.
You're accusing me of drama, sir? You walk in here looking like a tomato.
Louis Tamale and Jack Arts became business partners. But when business went bad, Jack says he fired Louis. Louis says Jack threw him out of a car. Now Louis is really hot under the collar.
Was he in the car with you?
Yes.
What happened in the car?
We were on the 105 freeway, and this was after 92 days of employment. He had revealed himself to me as stealing money from me, cutting deals behind my back with clients, and other negligences. I didn't want to hear him talk about any new cases. I told him, he's in the back of my car talking in my ear. I said, Louis, I don't want to hear about new cases. Let's talk about the cases we have. Let's execute on them. He wouldn't talk about the old cases. He would only talk about new cases. I said, I can't stand to hear that. You've caused me too many headaches. You have to get out of the car because I can't stand to have you talking unless you shut up. He would not shut up, so I pulled to the side of the road at a call box at Crenshaw and the 105. I said, this is South Central L.A., Louis. You really want to get out here? He kept talking. I said, get out. He got out of the car, closed it. I waited for 30 seconds thinking maybe he'll realize where he is and he'll knock and come back in the car and keep his mouth shut and I'll drive him home, but he didn't.
And he was sitting in the back of the car at the time.
Yes, he was on the passenger side so that his voice came into my ear as I was driving. That was what
was he doing sitting in the back of the car? Who else was sitting in the car?
The secretary that he had hired, and Mrs. Selma Snyder, was sitting in the front seat.
Next to you?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's kind of hard for him to shove you out of the car, sir.
Yes,
You're
it's
sitting in the
also
back of the
illegal to
car.
let somebody out on a freeway, Your Honor.
Mr. Tamale.
Yes, Your Honor. I'll go on with the program. The following day, I went to an office that I had rented at the Casa Sonora Hotel. The manager is right here, Mr. Luis Lopez. He knows that I had
Tell me
rented
what
the
anybody
office.
else knows. Tell me about the assault.
Okay. I came through the door, which is centered in the lobby of the hotel. I opened up the door and proceeded to walk through. Mr. Arts was sitting at a desk that I had bought for him. He gets up out of his desk. He comes over here and he says, get out of my office. He takes me by the both arms like this, and he proceeds to shove me through the door of the office. As he does, he punches me in the torso. I fall on the floor. I call the police. I file a police report. This is a copy of the police report.
I'm not interested in your police report. That's what you told the police. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. And the witness to that was sitting right there.
Oh, well, I'll hear the witness. Did you assault him, sir?
No, although I did make contact with him. I stood in the doorway when I heard Selma, the woman that he had hired and who he was harassing.
Just tell me what you did.
Okay. I stood in the doorway to block him from coming in. I said, "You are not coming in this office after having done the things you did. You're out of here. You're fired."
What did he do?
I pushed him out of the office. He clung to the door. I pried his fingers off and I pushed him into the lobby. And Mr. Luis Lopez is a witness to that. He never lost his footing and I never struck him.
Mr. Lopez, were you there that day?
Yeah, I've been there.
Let's step up, please. You're Luis Lopez?
Yeah, what Jack says is what happens. He never knocked it down, like he says. He never been lie on the floor. That's what's true. I can't lie. That's the truth. So.
Sit down. Let me ask you this question, Mr. Tamale. Is the fact that you pushed him down, that he was pushed down to the ground and punched, was that the same truth as the truth that you told me that he physically threw you out of the car on the freeway?
Yes.
Both things are equally true.
Both events did happen, Your Honor.
No, that's not what I asked you.
Well, you're putting a lot of drama into it.
Just a minute. That's not drama. You're accusing me of drama, sir? You walk in here looking like a tomato, and you accuse me of being theatrical?
She's ready to rule. Stay tuned.
Listen to me, sir. Just answer my question. My question is simple. Are both things equally as true?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, there. We just took care of his complaint. Now you have a countersuit against him. Do you want to pursue that, sir?
Yes.
What's your countersuit?
Luis Tamale alleged that I formed a partnership with him, that I split fees with him, that I distributed this enclosed flyer in the neighborhood, that I bounced checks.
But that is still an open matter. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, I can't rule on that, sir, because it's still an open matter. Nobody has ruled on that yet.
But my expenses were caused.
Well, I don't care what your expenses were. Maybe somebody's going to find out it was all true. I don't know. I don't know if anybody would believe him, but somebody might. So I can't rule on that because it's still an open matter.
Somebody might.
Mr. Arts.
Okay.
What else?
He didn't disclose a lien on a lawsuit that he helped settle for me, and I wound up paying $1,500 to a lawyer that was undisclosed.
Well, I want to tell you something, sir. You better pick your business partners a little more carefully. This complaint is dismissed and the countersuit is dismissed. Sounds to me as if you both deserve a little bit of each other. That's all.
Thank you, excuse. You may step out, please.
Gee, I wonder if she wants the tamales now.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Well, I'm a little disappointed that I'm not able to get some help in repairing the damage that he has caused my practice. He has made a shambles of my practice.
I rented this office, I staffed it, I furnished it, I paid for everything, and then I was OUT out.
For shoplifting. But before she could prove her innocence, Captain Good put her picture on local television. She says the show ruined her. He says she deserves it.
Order. All rise. Order. Your Honor, this is number 35 on the calendar in the matter of Sylvester versus Pimentel.
How are you, Bird?
Okay, Judge, I had to borrow your pen.
That's okay.
You may be seated.
Well, this is a legally fascinating case. From what I gather from your complaint and answer, the defendant is a 30-year police veteran. For the past several years, a captain at his precinct in Taunton, Massachusetts.
Yes,
is
Your
that
Honor.
correct? And you also, sir, recently have a cable television station and network where you regularly report on the locals who have been arrested in your jurisdiction.
Local cable, and I also have a sleaze alert on radio.
A what?
A sleaze alert on.
Sleaze alert.
Yes.
And there came a time when the plaintiff was arrested in a local store for some sort of larceny, a shoplifting. She was there with her 8-year-old son. Prior to any conviction in that case, you, sir, profiled her on your television program and or your radio station. Is that correct?
On the radio station, all I do is I identify people that are wanted on felony warrants.
Did you identify her on the radio
station? On my
station?
cable, no.
Just on the television
station? On the
station?
cable program, yes.
Okay. And the plaintiff is suing the defendant for the pain and suffering both she and her son experienced as a result of being profiled on your program. Correct?
Correct.
Why don't you tell me something about yourself?
I'm 53 years old. I've raised 3 children. I've had a store for 25 years. I had a dress shop for 18 years, and I have a country store for 9 years. In fact, Captain Pimentel's neighbor, Mrs. Karras, worked for me. I've never even had a parking ticket. I've never had anything in my life that's ever been anything. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I mean...
Married?
I'm married 31 years. And my
same
son
guy?
is the love of... Same guy, and I had a baby at 42. And this is my son that just turned 10.
Tell me what happened that day.
Okay, my husband was working out of state. He worked in Ohio at a power plant. And many Saturday nights would go to the Galleria, and I shopped loads at Lechmere. I was there for probably an hour and a half, and I was there the week before. I bought a fan and a heater. So my son was playing video games because he didn't want to shop with me, and I knew all the girls in jewelry, and I put a diamond ring on my 30th anniversary was coming up with Stephanie. And I was milling around, and I wanted the TV. That's what I went for his room. There's a back door and there's a mall door. We couldn't even walk. We couldn't even steer the carriage because it was so big. So I said to my husband, when we got there, there's 2 cash registers.
You said to your husband?
My son. I'm sorry. I said to my son, I said...
Who was how old at the time?
8. I said to my son, I said, Jarrett, the 2 registers weren't manned. I am going to go see about the warranty on this TV because it was like, not a reject, but it wasn't like fully warranted, and I'll get somebody in the register and have somebody carry things out for us to the car. He said, okay. The next thing I know, I saw Jarrett playing with a carriage, and he was going through the doors. Now, I've had a dress shop for 25 years. I went and I saw the security guard that I recognized, that I knew that worked there. I didn't know he was a security guard, and I said, my son's out there. I have a store. I know we can't leave the store. I need your help. He says, I guess you do. You better come with me. From then on, everything happened. He called the police, the Taunton police. My son, nothing. They didn't question him. They didn't do anything. I wasn't near the carriage or touching it. But my son, they brought him in. They called the police. The wonderful Taunton police officer, Stephen Turner, said, I'm not arresting this lady. She hasn't done anything. She's got the check made out to you people. She's talked to Stephanie. They all know her here.
Did you have the check made out?
Yes, I had it all made out to Lechmere to pay at the back door because they have 2 registers right there as you leave. There's the cash register and there's the door.
So what happened? You were arrested? Were you taken to jail?
Yes, 4 hours in a jail cell. My husband was in Ohio. My little son was with me. They were wonderful to me. I have to admit it. He said, I'm not putting you in with any of the criminals. You can be by yourself. But 4 hours I was in a jail cell until the man got back from going out to dinner with his wife to bail me out for $25.
How much later?
A month later. I went away with my friend. We went to Maine every year. My friend from New Jersey and I go to Maine shopping in Freeport, Maine. And we got home that night, and all hell broke loose. It happened on November 25th, the night after Thanksgiving. I never left my house for a month. I never wanted to go out again. If I didn't have my son or my husband, I probably would never have woken up again because I had run a business for 25 years. Everybody thought the world of me. And I had friends everywhere. And it's like, I just want to die. There's nothing to live for. Everywhere I go, they're going to think, she must steal, because they believe this wonderful, supposedly Captain Good, and, puts me on with all the sleaze bags and scumbags that he uses, and I'm one of them, supposedly. And I just had nothing to go on for.
A question of shoplifting, innocence, and a television show continues in a moment. Sylvester was arrested for shoplifting, but before she could prove her innocence, Captain Good put her picture on local television. She says the show ruined her. He says she deserves it.
Sir, I see you have a tape with you. Is that?
Yes.
I have a tape also.
Is that a tape of the kind of program that you have?
Yes, my program has been in existence for 3 years. I've profiled hundreds of arrests.
All right, I'd like to see it.
Yes.
And if you wear it, you own it. You toilet-licking maggots. You're a low-life scum.
That's what I was.
You're out there, and we find out who you are. You're absolutely the lowest sub-creature in the world.
I would like to see the piece where you are identified. Do you have that?
I have it here, but I've never seen it, and I never will. I live in Lakeville. It doesn't air near me, thank God, because he's been in a lot of trouble up at our way now.
I would like to see it.
He's had a federal case in Boston against him.
That's not true, man. Why is she talking like this?
Because you did.
That it's not
Miss Sylvester, you're not accustomed to being in a courtroom.
I've never been in my life.
All right, so we don't talk back and forth to the parties. You are accustomed to being in a courtroom,
Your Honor.
sir, so I suggest
I
you
have so
comport
many
yourself
articles about
appropriately.
him.
I will.
Well, before we take a break, talk about Janet Sylvester, age 52, from Lakeville. Again at the Galleria Mall, charged with shoplifting. Janet had her son wheel out a Sony TV, canisters, 13 of them, gourmet coffee canisters, hairdryer, 2 waffle makers, and a power screwdriver. Everything added up to about $500. She didn't want to pay for them. Used her son.
You mentioned my son with
Come
another
on,
question.
stay in Lakeville, please.
That's something else. I never had my day in court.
Okay, before we go any further, we'll take a short break.
Okay, turn it off.
I've never seen that and never wanted to.
Captain, I have a couple of questions for you.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm not familiar with your reputation prior to today, but I assume that you consider yourself one of those people who was pretty tough on crime.
Yes.
Me too.
Thank you.
I think that criminals have to be held accountable for what they do.
Yes.
Those of them who are dangerous have to be removed from society so that we can all be safe. I assume that that was the intention of your program.
Correct.
But I have a couple of questions for you, sir.
I'll answer them.
You are different from a journalist, from a newspaper reporter, correct?
Correct.
Because you are shrouded in a uniform.
Correct.
Now, Miss Sylvester, she would have no recourse if a newspaper printed her name and the fact that she had been arrested, correct?
Right.
Because they are merely stating the news.
Right.
There is an arrest made at Lickmere's for stealing property. The person arrested was Mrs. Sylvester.
Correct.
But, Captain, you went further in that tape.
I use my program as an educational program. It's a crime prevention, and
It's a power program,
Miss
and everyone
Sylvester?
knows it.
Go ahead. Tell me what
I
you think
use
it
that
is.
program to alert citizens of my community. And you only just saw one section of it.
A question of shoplifting, innocence, and a television show continues in a moment. Sister was arrested for shoplifting, but before she could prove her innocence, Captain Good put her picture on local television. She says the show ruined her. He says she deserves it.
So let me tell you the problem that I have with that, sir. You did more than just announce the arrest.
I read out to the police officer's report. I did not arrest Mrs. Sylvester.
You did more
Stephen Turner didn't
than
want to arrest
announce
me.
the arrest. You editorialized, Captain. You said, she did this. She had her son walk out of the store without paying, and she had no intention of paying.
According to the officer's report.
He didn't even want to arrest me. I've spoken
Miss
to him
Sylvester,
twice.
Miss Sylvester.
I'm sorry.
You know the difference between a charge and a conviction, sir.
Correct.
And you know that a police report is a charge.
Correct.
You reported that as if that is what happened.
I reported it as the way it went down, Your Honor. I don't make a decision. I leave that for a person as yourself.
Until I was proven guilty.
Miss Sylvester. Miss Sylvester.
I'm so sorry, Judge. I've never met him before.
You did not report it as an arrest. You went inside her mind and said she had no intention of paying for it.
According to the officer's report, Your Honor, she was arrested. And this is what the officer, this is what
That's
the
not
officer.
what Stephen Turner said.
I have
Miss
the
Sylvester, if you interrupt again, I'm going to have you sit down. Do you understand?
I won't.
Good.
Your Honor, I have the report, and I also have the sealed court document on the decision of her case.
Well,
In the report-
I'm mildly interested in the decision, sir.
Okay.
But at the time of your broadcast, there was no decision.
Right, exactly. I
Oh,
just
just
read
a
the
sec.
officer's report.
At the time of the broadcast,
Correct.
there had not been a decision.
Correct.
Now, Ms. Sylvester, do you want to tell me your version of what the decision was? Was there a
Okay.
decision in your case?
My attorney, we went for the 6 jury. We can have a 6-man jury rule for us. But because of what this man has done to me, and I was under psychiatric care all year, I haven't left my house. This is my figures of my bank statement for that month of Christmas. I decided to have 6 months without a finding. I could not go up and go through this ever again.
What do you
Just
mean
being
6
here.
months without a finding? What
They
does that
just
mean to you?
dismiss everything like they would have done the very first day when I went to court.
Did you plead guilty?
Probably that's what it must mean.
Did you plead guilty?
Yes, I must have. He didn't let me. My lawyer. He let me say.
Let me see the
He let me
report that you have.
Just have it dismissed. He said,
It's a
just say it's
Massachusetts
dismissed 6
document.
months
It
without a
would be
finding.
the decision and the seals right
Let me
here,
see.
and she admitted sufficient facts right here.
Because I wouldn't go for a jury. And I was entitled to it.
She was fined a total of $125.
Well, let me tell you what this says. It says the original plea was not guilty.
Correct.
And it says that the case was continued without a finding.
Right.
So that is continued without a finding, but however, Ms. Sylvester, it does say admits sufficient facts.
To end it.
Do you remember what you said to the court at that time?
I didn't have to say anything. I have my attorney just stood up with me and just stood beside me, and I said, I just want to end this.
Okay.
The only thing I wanted out of all of this, if I had gone for the jury, was to talk about Captain Pimentel, what he's done to people, and what he's had done to him of interfering with a criminal case in Taunton.
Let me tell you, Ms. Sylvester, I want you to be quiet for a minute. According to what the court record, it appears to me that what you did was, through your attorney, agree to what I know as an adjournment and contemplation of dismissal, which means that if there is no further arrest, no further criminal activity on your part in a 6-month period, the case will be dismissed and sealed as if it never happened.
That's what he
Now,
told
is
me.
that your understanding?
Right.
Sir?
If she doesn't get any further problem,
Well,
6
she lived
months
on this
gone.
earth for 52 years, sir, so the likelihood
Well, the
of her in the
answer to
next
that
6
is yes.
months. Okay. So then the case would be dismissed, sealed, and her life would go on. Do you ever look into what happens after you've reported arrests of people, whether their cases have been dismissed, whether they apprehended the wrong person, and do you report that as well?
I only talk about arrest. I don't hold a scorecard or anything. It's up to the judge and jury to make the decision.
No, what
All
I'm
I
ask-
talk about are arrest in my community. That's it.
Well,
the answer to that is no.
My problem with what I heard, sir, is that you presumed in that statement that you made about her guilt. You did not merely say arrested was Janet Sylvester, show her picture, for shoplifting. Arrested with son attempting to leave the store with merchandise that she hadn't paid for.
According to the police report, Your Honor.
No, sir. That would have been reporting the arrest. And as far as I'm concerned, totally not actionable by Miss Sylvester. Totally not actionable. You understand that. You were, in fact, arrested.
Yes. And my car was a half a mile away. Okay.
I don't care. It was a half a
All
mile
right.
away or 10 miles away. You were, in fact, arrested, and you would have no recourse if someone, either Captain Pimentel or a local newspaper picked up that arrest and reported it on their police blotter page. But you, sir, presumed her guilt in your statement when you identified her. And that's wrong. It is not only morally wrong, but because you are shrouded in First Amendment rights of freedom of speech, you can report what you have in front of you, which is an arrest, but you chose to editorialize. And I believe that that's wrong. And I don't know if you've done it before, and based upon what you tell me, you don't even do a follow-up in certain cases to say, well, they arrested someone for robbery, it turned out to be the wrong person. So remember that picture that I showed you last week? That person was released from custody because they have a new suspect. Don't you think that's fair?
My program, again, is an informative program. All I do is I deal with arrest. That's all I do. I leave it up to a person of your stature to make the decisions.
Well, that's, sir, and what I'm telling you is arrests are fine. Editorializing on those arrests, as you did, especially shrouded in your uniform, is twice as dangerous. Now, I'm not even suggesting that you have an obligation to look at Mrs. Sylvester and say, here we have a woman who's 52 years old. Let me find out about something about her before I potentially destroy her life. You clearly don't do that. And I don't think that you have to do that. Would it be nice? Yes. Do you have to do it? No. But you do have an obligation, if you are reporting arrests, and arrests only, not to give your personal opinion on guilt, which is what you did in that video. And therefore, the judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of her request, which is $2,000.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you.
Judge Judy will return in a moment.
You are a downright liar.
We will go after him now. And he's not going to have this power to hurt other people because I have never even had a parking ticket or anything in my life, and I'm a good mother and a good person.
And now, the next case.
Bodies on Warden versus Castleberry. Step forward, please.
When Susan Warden's best friend, Elaine Castleberry, needed cash to get married, she loaned it. Susan says Elaine won't pay her back. Elaine says she did pay her back.
You two nice ladies used to be friends.
Yes.
How long were you friends?
About 6 years.
Yeah, about 6. I'm sorry.
Then you were going to Alabama to get married.
Well, we were going on vacation to Pennsylvania and Alabama, and we got married in Pennsylvania.
And according to the complaint, you lent the defendant $300.
Yes.
And she came back, didn't pay you back right away. And then there was a problem with your two husbands.
Yeah.
One borrowed $20 from the other, came in asking for the $20.
That's neither here
You got
nor
angry.
there, though.
You got angry, said, what about my $300? And the fight was on.
I guess so. I got angry over the $20, just the nerve of him coming over for $20 when she owed me $300. He got his money that day.
But he didn't know it. It was between you and me.
I know, but you still haven't paid me back, Elaine.
Listen to me. Don't yell at each other. Talk to me. It's not a lot of money. It's $300. We'll get to the bottom of it. The sadder part of it is that you're not friends anymore. You lent her the $300, and she and her new husband came home, correct?
Yes.
And at some point, your husband went over to get $20 from her husband that he had borrowed.
Right.
And what happened when he came over?
He was just, he was angry about the $20 because my husband takes forever to pay him back, but that's between
Just
those
a second.
two.
So what happened? He came over and he said,
came
"Where's
over
what?"
and he was complaining about the $20 and everything else, and kind of on a rampage, and just angry words and everything else. And I shut my mouth, and then because her and I are friends, and then I just let loose because I was angry.
So you let loose and said,
and I just said, your, excuse me, wife. I was supposed to spell that out, but wife owes me, but I didn't mean to say that. I meant to say your wife, and then the reverse. Because her and I were friends. I did not mean that, but I was angry. And so I gave him the $20, and we haven't spoke ever since. We were neighbors.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. When Susan Warden's best friend, Elaine Castleberry, needed cash to get married, she loaned it. Susan says Elaine won't pay her back. Elaine says she did pay her back.
Did you pay her back the $300? Did you?
Yes.
When?
I paid her partial in November, and then the other part in January.
Oh, you're gonna go to hell for lying. You know that's a damn
Ms.
lie.
Castleberry.
You did not pay me anything.
You paid her any part of it after you had this argument?
Yes.
You did?
Well, we never had an argument.
Well, when you stopped talking to
Right.
each other.
Okay.
You paid her after you stopped talking
Yes.
to each other? Well, tell me about how you paid her.
How I paid her?
Yeah, tell me about exactly how, under what circumstances you paid her.
I put money in an envelope and gave it to her
Personally?
boyfriend. No,
Ah,
gave
my-
it to her boyfriend.
That's not him.
To give it to him, her.
That's not responsible. It's me you borrowed the money from, not him. Me.
Why?
Well, we weren't talking or
Listen,
anything. You
listen
were
to me.
ignoring
Don't give it to
me.
You
You give
ladies,
it to me.
listen. You ladies are not paying attention to me. I said you have to talk to me, not to each other. If you want to talk to each other, that would be fine, but you do that outside.
Okay.
It's just
In
outrageous
here you
lie.
talk. In here you
I
talk
can't
to me.
believe this.
Why would you give her cash instead of a check if you weren't talking to her?
I never thought anything about it. I never thought anything about it. Not at all.
How long did it take you to pay back this money?
I borrowed it in September, beginning of September, and I paid $150 in November. The end
Did she
of
give you
November.
any money in November?
I haven't received a dime from her. And after that's why I waited till over a year to file in small claims court. I haven't received nothing at all. And I don't lie. I didn't think she did either, but I don't.
Also, this was a loan between her and I. My husband knew nothing about it.
That's why she's mad, because I told him.
And that's why I gave cash mostly also.
Did you?
She didn't give
Let
me
me
any
ask you
money.
this question. Well, after
wouldn't be
the
here.
after the argument, and you weren't talking to each other, certainly your husband knew about it. So then you
yeah,
could have given her a
definitely.
check.
I could have the
Yes,
last
sure.
payment I gave her, yes.
Sure, you could have given her a check. Your husbands, seems to me this problem started over them. So are they talking to each other now?
Oh, yeah, they talk.
Now, I've
They
moved.
have been
I've moved
talking.
since. I've moved since. I don't
Oh,
know
but
what all
before
this...
she moved, they've
okay, and
been
it's not my
talking.
husband, first of all. He's my
No,
boyfriend.
boyfriend.
And
Are you still together?
no. No.
Why?
Oh, God, that's a long story.
Well, I want to know if it had anything to do with honesty.
Who, Woody? I mean, my...
The boyfriend, the boy
no,
that you're
I just
living
got
with.
sick of the same old...
What?
Just not reliable, not working, me supporting everybody. I got tired of it and I threw him out.
Well, then how do you know that he didn't take this money that you gave with an
Because
envelope?
I know she did not give the money. I know she did not, because she does not have the money, and you know how Woody is. Why would you give him money? Because this is an excuse for you right now to use it. She
No,
would
don't-
give the
you
money
talk-
to me. If she could write me letters and do everything else, the money would go. She
I was
borrowed the
trying
money
to be
directly from my
friends.
hands. Why
I
can't
wanted
she
to
give
be
it back to my
friends.
hands?
That's a reasonable question.
Yeah.
We were friends for a long time.
So you don't pay me
understand
my
that.
money. Now you're sitting here lying to me. I'm lying and you don't pay me my money.
You're
How can
yelling
we
at
be
each
friends? You're
other.
lying.
She's ready to rule. Stay tuned.
She has a point.
I didn't even hear what she said. I'm sorry.
Well, generally her point is you have to put the money in her hand, not in the hand of a third person, because then you're never sure whether she's going to get it, especially if it's cash. She tossed out this boyfriend because he was not
I didn't know that.
responsible. Yeah, I know that, but you have an obligation if you owe her money to see to it that she personally gets the money. And clearly, that wasn't done if you gave the money to a third person. You have no information that he actually turned this money over to her. I'm not sure whether you actually gave him the money anyway, but even if you did, it would be like giving it to a stranger and saying, would you give this to Miss Warden? You can't do that, and you know that you can't do that. It's just too bad that you used to be friends, and you're not friends because you got a little hot under the collar.
Okay, I got a little hot on it. Look, she's lying. She's sitting here. I'm glad I'm not a friend with her because she's a liar.
Listen to me. I want you to just think
I
about
don't
it.
like liars.
Just think for a second. The two guys got into an argument. You got hot. It really had nothing to do with her. You got irritated because you didn't like what he was doing in your house, and you took it out on her. By saying bad things about her, by calling her a name.
It was one sentence, and I did not mean that
Well,
sentence.
that
I told her, I wrote her a letter and said I did not mean that sentence. I was angry, and the words got reversed. I did not mean that.
But listen to me. You're
I did not
excitable,
get
but
that.
you're excitable, but you said it. And not only did you say it, but in this argument that these two childish boys were probably having, you had no right to bring her into it because she had not told her husband that you would
That's
lend
why she
her
got
the money.
angry, because
Of
he
course.
didn't know, and that's why, because she got in trouble from him, I believe.
Well, that's
or
true,
not,
but that-
for borrowing money.
But that was something that you created over a situation that really had nothing to do with her. It was the two guys.
Yeah,
So let me tell
they
you.
should have went outside then, I guess.
Absolutely right. So I want you to
Outside
at
of
least
my
leave
house,
here.
yeah.
You're going to leave here with your $300 because I'm going to award you that.
Thank you.
But I want you to at least understand that you caused this problem because you got hot under the collar in a situation that had nothing to do with her, but you brought your friend into it, and you shouldn't have.
I guess, but yes, I did.
That's
I'm
all.
just- I'm not
Judgment
gonna
for the
explain
plaintiff
it.
in the amount of $300.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. Step out, please.
Judge Judy will return in a moment.
It's fair. I won. It was the truth, though. You know you didn't pay me any money back. You know it. Elaine, you're lying, but I guess that's the person you are. I never
White
thought of
trash is great.
White
you know?
trash? Look at you. She's a liar. I don't want a friend like that. No way.
Yes, I'm fine.
My mom taught me better. She's 50-something. She's a liar.